Hello, love wrestling. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It's another new episode of Between Two Beards.
Can we start off with the biggest news of the week? The Rats lost! But every night I'm making new best friends, and the only problem is we like having a good time. Forget yourself down. If you've got the budget, I've got the time.
There he is.
Hey, boss!
There's the boss.
Hey!
The man with the finest beard on this screen.
Canadian boys, shut the hell up. Let me talk.
You see, the Rads are resourceful. When I got beef with somebody, I can find a way to talk to them.
And listen between two beers.
Getting down.
Hello, love wrestling. It is Thursday night. It is 8 p.m. And you know what that means. It is another new episode of Between Two Beards. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, usually it's you and PLUGGO, and Warren would be between us beards getting ready to do this episode tonight. But unfortunately, PLUGGO is a little under the weather this evening. He tried to tough it out, and it was resting and drinking his liquids all day, trying to make it to the show. But he let us know that he was down and out for the count. So Mr. Warren Hayes, our beloved friend, is going to be doing the two-man weave with me tonight. And I'm very excited about that. But obviously, we wish PLUGGO, get healthy. So you're back next week, my friend, rest up and all that fun stuff. But yeah, so obviously just wanted to get that out of the way at the top. But then I want to welcome in our pal, Mr. Warren Hayes. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very good, JPJ. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a shame that PLUGGO can't be here, but I'll try to keep things off track as much as possible in his honor.
I feel like that would be the thing to do, just chaos and, things like that to honor him. I think he would appreciate that, honestly.
Well, the spirit of PLUGGO will live through us. We're talking as if he's dead, but he's fine.
I know. He's fine. He's okay.
He's fine.
Just a little sick. He'll be all right. It happens to all of us.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Exactly. But yes, very excited to have you on. It's been a little bit since we've had you on, and obviously this past weekend was a giant weekend in all of professional wrestling, but in AEW, they were in Texas for a massive show that they call All In, and we're excited to talk to you because not only do you love AEW and you watch the shows, but you were there in attendance last weekend. So we want to obviously talk about your experience seeing it live. Have you watched it? It was obviously a longer show. Have you watched it all the way back since returning?
The only thing I watched back was the TNT title match.
Okay.
Which I did not see when I was there live because I decided that was going to be my pee break.
All right, fair enough.
that was my pee break match. So that's the only thing I watched back. But no, I didn't watch. I didn't watch anything else.
Okay.
Since coming back, no.
All right, cool. I just didn't.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I know pending, obviously being there is a far different experience than watching it on TV with the commentary and all that fun stuff. So I just didn't know if you just soaked it in live and that was the only experience you needed.
Well, I am looking forward to rewatching the top three matches with commentary on TV.
Yeah.
Because I kind of, just in case, if there's certain things that I missed, from the seats, just little details, things that you see better on television, and it helps shape your opinion of things,
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of people around me who are extremely high on the Okada Omega match. I mean, we'll talk about all of these matches.
Oh yeah, for
Obviously,
sure.
that's kind of what I'm here for.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of people who are really, really high on it. I really liked it. And I'm not as high as they were. And I'm like, well, maybe because of how it's translated on TV, maybe there's stuff that I missed out on, right?
Yeah.
So, it's that kind of thing. I don't feel like I necessarily missed out on anything during the, being there live. I thought it was a phenomenal show. I thought it was a very, 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 very good show.
Yes.
And a great experience there at Globe Life Field. It's just tremendous. I don't know where you want to start with this. BJ.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I guess we could start before we dive into like the actual card and the matches, just the overall experience of Texas for you last weekend. I don't know if you've been to Texas before.
No.
This moment. Okay, so first time in Texas. I know you're in Arlington, which is not terribly far from the Dallas area.
Correct.
So how was just the experience in Texas and like kind of the whole weekend outside of the particular event before we dive into said event?
I flew into Wisconsin to meet up with Kristen. And from there we got a car and we road tripped.
Oh, dang. All right.
Yeah. So we drove from Wisconsin all the way down south. So we talk about Texas, but I got to see a bit of Minnesota. I got to see a bit of Missouri. We stayed in Kansas City both nights coming back. That's where we slept. Kansas City was a good halfway point. So there. Iowa, saw a lot of Iowa, brother.
All right. Is there a lot to see?
There's a lot of corn.
Okay, fair.
There's a lot of corn. But on our way back, you know what we did on our way back? We stopped at the Field of Dreams movie.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Which is still maintained to this day. It's Kristen that pulled it up because we did a lot of stops. Like we did a bunch of little stops along the way, both to and fro. Like we stopped at the Buddy Holly crash on the way in.
Yep.
Which was kind of cool because it's like this. You take a gravel road and you're really, you get off the highway, you take a gravel road and you're going down like pure, like rural farmland. It's like, where the hell are we until you get to the sort of little makeshift memorial that exists there. We went to the Spam Museum in Minnesota, which was tremendous. But back to the Field of Dreams site, they maintained the site, and they actually, they have baseball games there. They have like, I guess, little league games that happen there. They have people come in all the time, and it's really cool. It's really cool. And I personally have never seen the movie. I've never seen Field of Dreams. Okay. But Kristen and her father, particularly, and her family, it's a seminal film. It's one of these things that the family shares. So she was really, really excited, and she took tons of pictures, and it's a beautiful site. And it looks like Kristen was telling us, it looks exactly like in the movie. There's a couple of more buildings because they have a restaurant there now. Yeah, set up that looks like a barn, and they have
that's cool.
And they have a souvenir shop. So there's a couple of extra buildings than what you see in the film, but otherwise, she's like, this is exactly what the movie looks like, So, and I thought it was really cool because it didn't feel like. The best way I can put it is that it didn't feel like an attraction. It didn't feel like a tourist attraction. It felt very low key, very homey. When you get there, there's a gentleman there that welcomes you, and what's not and whatnot. It's very, very nice. And people were coming in, baseball teams. They were coming in to play a game. I thought it was lovely. Like it was really, really cool. So the trip has been all sorts of stuff like that, exploring like these weird little nooks and crannies of the US as we're driving. Because let me tell you, 19 hours in a car,
it's a long time,
back and forth. Well, just one way, I should say. Even if it's with the person you love, you got to break that up a little bit. You got to do some things to sort of break up the rhythm. But
yeah, for sure.
Look, I got to Texas, got to Arlington. I thought everyone was wonderful. Like everyone that we ran into, that we met, were all so lovely and wonderful. I had my first authentic Texas barbecue.
That was going to be my next question. Did you have Texas barbecue?
Okay. So the story is that we on the Sunday we went to the TJPW show. Okay. In Dallas, and we come back. It's late afternoon, and we're sitting in the hotel room, and I tell Kristen, I want a cowboy hat.
Oh wow! Okay.
She says, "You want a cowboy hat?" I want a cowboy hat. Well, they had some at the souvenir. So I want a real cowboy hat. I want a cowboy hat that a cowboy is going to wear to go out and do work.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we figure it out with the front desk, and there's this place. The name escapes me, and we go. I go by myself. I go there to buy a cowboy hat, and it's one of these work outfit shops, where you just have all sorts of outdoor things, but shitloads of cowboy boots and cowboy hats. And the guy who helped me out to pick out my hat is he ran me through his experience. He's an actual cowboy. He's a guy he worked on a ranch for years, and so on and so forth. I'll spare you the story, but I was sold an actual cowboy hat by an actual cowboy.
That's amazing.
So that was tremendous. And then he says, then he starts asking, so where are you from? He says, I'm from Canada. It's you came, you're a long ways from home. What are you doing here? And I told him whatnot. And he said, well, did you have any barbecue yet? I've said, no, actually, the hotel recommended a spot. He says, I don't know what your hotel recommended, but you're going to go to Hurtado's. That's what it's called.
All right.
And okay, brother, look, I'm going to trust you more.
Yeah, you got to trust him.
I'm going to trust the cowboy.
Yep.
No disrespect to the lovely people at the Live by Lowe's hotel where Kristen and I stayed, which was one of the best hotels I've ever stayed in, quite frankly. No disrespect to them. But if the cowboy is telling me you got to go here for your barbecue, I'm listening to the cowboy.
Correct.
And it was delicious, JPJ. I got a big ass plate. I had brisket.
Oh, I was going to ask. Yeah.
Of course, right? What am I doing? Homemade sausage, which was delicious. A side of potato salad and street corn.
Oh, I love street corn.
And then I had pickles. I had bread. And Kristen was like, "You're never going to eat all that." And I said, "Baby, you should know me better."
Yeah.
I just devoured the whole friggin' thing.
Yeah.
It was so fantastically good. It was really, really tremendous. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much. So as far as my, Texas, I met some people, we drove around quite a bit, but we were also all around Arlington in a very urban metropolitan area, as opposed to, heading out to, I don't know, El Paso. Or whatever,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was, it was tremendous. I had such a good time. And the whole site, Globe Life Field, is phenomenal. I had a great time. I legitimately had a great time.
I love it. Yeah, that's one of the newer baseball stadiums. It's only a few years old, so I'm sure all the amenities and all that stuff. It was probably big. It's big. It's beautiful. It looked very cool, at least coming through the TV. The way the venue was set up too, it looked pretty badass. So it looked like the baseball field vibe I like when pro wrestling turns it into these big places. I think it works really well. The baseball fields.
I agree.
And I thought it looked cool.
I think it works better than the football fields. Actually.
I agree.
This was my first time in an MLB stadium, unless you count, 8-year-old Warren going to see the Montreal Expos in the Olympic Stadium.
I mean, that counts. That at the time, that counts. Yeah,
I guess, but maybe the Olympic Stadium for me is kind of like humdrum. But anyway.
That's fair. That's fair.
So when you walk in, this is the thing, JPJ. You walk in, and I was not expecting to be you're right at I don't know how to explain it, but you're higher than than the field, right? When
Yeah.
you're walking in.
Yeah.
So you walk, so when you get in, you actually see like the field and the structure, the gimmicks, the ring in the middle. And I'm like, immediately I'm like blown away. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This looks tremendous. I'd never seen this kind of setup, and it's kind of breathtaking where you're like, oh my God, like I'm in this huge venue for this big show, and it looks big time. It feels big time. I got to tell you, like for a company that's been around for 5 years, AEW has figured out how to do the stadium shows.
Oh yeah.
Like even when they did the Arthur Ashe show looked great on TV, and then and so on and so forth. Every time they've done a stadium show, they figured it out, and it looks tremendous. So this was no different here. It was phenomenal, quite honestly.
Yeah. And it definitely looked cool. Obviously, this was their largest American gate in the history of their company, which was a good feat for them. They packed the place. It looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
It from the get-go, even in the lead-in, it felt like it was going to be a big time show, and that's exactly what it was. And it was a spectacular show, 6 hours in all. It didn't, and I know you were there live, so that's a different feel from watching it on TV. But I've watched 2-hour shows that have felt like 6-hour shows, and this was a 6-hour show that did not feel 1 ounce like I was watching this show for 6 hours.
Sure,
and that's how the quality of the show was. Doesn't matter if it's 3, 4, 6, whatever. If it's that quality, it doesn't matter. And
I agree.
Yeah, it was just tremendous stuff.
And I'm with you. Like, and we were there earlier, right?
Yeah.
We got to the venue earlier, so we must have spent 8 hours at the venue. I do it all over again in a snap. It didn't feel, but like I'm with you. Like it didn't feel heavy-handed. The energy in the building was really, really good throughout. One of the things I saw early on as I rejoined social media after spending most of the day just, not hanging out on it all that much, there was discourse around the audience being dead, I think, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And quite frankly, I don't know I don't know how the show was mic'd, but because take it from me, we were not dead. We were into that show, and probably the audience was loud. They were into it. I think there'd be like 2 spots in the show where the audience really wasn't connecting.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you also saw it live. It's the matches where you'd see people walking around and leaving, right? The TNT match specifically, that people weren't really into that, but everything else, holy smokes. No, this crowd was live and excited. They were ready to see some pro wrestling. Yeah.
And all in all, like I think the only part of the show where the crowd seemed out of it was the 4-way. And I think that was because, and the Adam Cole stuff was brutal. It was sad. And it was just, it's going to be hard for the crowd to be really excited about anything really following that moment, because it was just heartbreaking. And he seems like one of the most genuine, great guys in this business. And you could see how emotional he was. He mentioned the word retire. It was just, it was a sad moment, and everybody really felt for that guy. I'm sure it felt that way in the arena. We could feel the crowd kind of go this way through the TV. And I don't think the crowd really fully bounced back until the tag match that happened after, because of that. That was really the only part to me that I was like, man, I felt bad for the 4 guys in the match, because I was like, the crowd's out of it because of the Adam Cole. Like they're just not, and that's what it felt like. But that was the only part of the show where I was like, anything. I thought the crowd was awesome. I thought the crowd was awesome throughout the whole show.
I mean, listen, the Adam Cole stuff, I don't think, like no one was really expecting that. So of course it blindsides you at the same time. And you're like, oh, wait a second, this really sucks. Like this really, really sucks. But I would say from the minute Dustin won the title, the vibes returned. And it was, obviously this was slapdash put together, like, I don't know, a couple of hours before the show, right?
It had to be, yeah.
this was not planned by any sense of the imagination. So I think the decision to have Dustin win the title was very, very deliberate. I think Tony understood that, well, the crowd is going to be so deflated. We got to at least end this on a high note. And man, let me tell you, these people, they love the Dustin Rhodes. They really do. The Texans, they love Dustin. Yeah. When he came out for the pre-show match, same reaction he got. So when he got the big win, huge pop. Everyone loved it. Like the match, even rewatching it after, the match kind of stank. It wasn't really. It was kind of. It wasn't really good. Yeah. But the win made up for it, and that kind of reset the vibe. That was smart booking on Tony's part to sort of make sure that the bad news of Adam Cole possibly, potentially, perhaps never doing this again is doesn't drag the show down. Tony fixed that up pretty quickly because I'm still convinced Kyle Fletcher was supposed to win.
Oh, for sure.
Still convinced he was supposed to win. But I can see Tony saying, well, look, we got to do this to preserve the energy of the show. And Kyle, you should be winning this match in a one-on-one. You should be winning this title in a one-on-one as opposed to a four-way.
Yeah.
And now it's just a question of time as to when he takes it off Dustin.
Did you ever think that in the year 2025 that Dustin Rhodes would be a triple champ?
What a world, right?
Right? Triple champ Dustin Rhodes.
Three belt Dustin.
Apparently.
Didn't he just resigned, right? Something like 6 years.
He resigned a 6-year contract, and it's for like an all-encompassing thing. It's for some wrestling, but backstage stuff, producing stuff. But I guess if he were to live out the contract and wrestle in the last year of the contract, he would be the first wrestler to ever wrestle for 6 decades and 6 different decades, which would be a feat on its own. That's incredibly impressive. But yeah, he signed a 6-year deal. Like it was reported like not long ago.
Yeah, not that long ago.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go through the pre-show and then we'll kind of get to the main card with all the juice and stuff. But the pre-show saw 2 back-to-back 8-man tags, but we saw the Shane Taylor Promotions lose to the Sons of Texas that we talked about. It was Dustin, it was Sammy Guevara, and the Von Erichs. And they beat Shane Taylor Promotions, a pretty standard, fair 8-man tag that you see in AEW. But like you said, the crowd was very hot for the Von Erichs and Dustin in particular, but obviously Sammy Guevara as well by association and things of that nature. It was a fun match. I love Shane Taylor. I think
he's great.
Yeah, he's great. I like the Shane Taylor Promotions. Of all, we see a lot of Ring of Honor people used on AEW often, and I like when they do it so often. I look at a group like this, and I look at Shane Taylor in particular, and I'm like, why can't should be seeing him more? If you're throwing more people over here, he's a guy I want to see more of on AEW because he's just tremendous. But I thought all in all, this was a pretty solid first match of the evening we were in store for. And obviously with the good guys, the Sons of Texas, they're not going to lose a match in Texas on a pre-show.
No.
So it's not going to happen. And I thought this was a pretty solid start to the show.
When I was when we were coming in, obviously you go to concessions. You start the minute you come in, right? And I get to the concession stand, and the guy who was preparing who I was chatting with at the food counter, he said, so you like AEW? He's like, yeah, I really do. So, it's my first time seeing the show, and I'll be able to watch it because I've got the screen there. And, that's cool. He says, man, I heard the Von Erichs are going to be here. Like he's from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know the kids are going to be there. I think Kevin's going to be there, right? He says, man, that's going to be great because I'm going to go home and I'm going to tell my pops I saw the Von Erichs. So you see, like that thing.
Yeah.
Like I was kind of happy to hear that to have someone talk to me like that because you hear about how big the Von Erichs are in Texas. And then like this random guy just working the concession stand just tells me, he's like, yeah, I'm going to go home and I'm going to tell my dad, I saw the Von Erichs. My dad was a big wrestling fan, and then so like it's ingrained, man. The Von Erichs mean something, even though I think Ross and Marshall are not good pro wrestlers. They're the name is still there nonetheless, and seems to have will always have some kind of value in Texas, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And then we went right into another 8-man tag, and this saw the conglomeration, which was Hologram, Kyle O'Reilly, and Tomohiro Ishii teaming up with Big Boom AJ, going against the Don Callis family, which was Hechicero, Lance Archer, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. We saw an assault on a child in this match, as Trent just blatantly assaulted Big Justice. Not saying, he wasn't a little too close for comfort there, but Trent took care of business. But we saw Big Justice get his revenge with the big spear on Trent at the end of this. But this, again, I didn't really know much about the Big Boom AJ guy before this stuff. And
Sure.
I know he's been used 2 or 3 times. It seems fun. It is fun. The crowd gets into it. It's a fun time. They're on pre-shows. It's harmless. I think it's good old-fashioned whatever. I know some people have stronger opinions about it, but it came across that the crowd was having a good time during this one more.
Sure. I didn't watch it.
Okay.
I hate the Costco guys.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I did see Trent pie face the kid.
Yes.
The Big Justice.
Yeah.
And look, if you can't handle being at ringside, don't come to ringside.
I get it. Hey, listen,
am I right?
Yeah. When it happened, I was like, wow. But then I was like, well, listen.
No, I agree. But
You're
look, but the point is that I think I was I ran into people. I was chatting with some people, some content creators.
Oh, very nice.
But you could hear, like, when it was happening, you hear the music and people are into it. And yeah, like, I my own feelings aside, because I really can't stand them. Like, I just cannot stand. Like, I don't understand the gimmick. I don't understand it. I don't understand. I see people show me their TikToks, and I do not understand what the appeal is. I don't understand what makes this interesting. I don't know why people are watch this shit in droves. I do not understand. And the guy, like, when he did was it at Revolution, the other pre-show he did? I saw that one.
Yeah, the first one was
it Revolution or Full Gear?
I think it was Full Gear was the first one. But I think this is the third time. He's done 2 matches. So this is the third match, I'm pretty sure.
The one with QT.
Yes, that was the first big one. Yeah, I think that was Full Gear. I want to say Full Gear that was.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I thought that was a perfectly fine match that got the people into it. Yep. The guy can work. He's not a goofball. He knows what he's doing. He used to be a pro wrestler, and it's all fine. And he looks good. Like, that's not the issue. The issue is that I don't understand it. It doesn't speak to me. I think it's ridiculous and stupid. The kid spears Trent. That doesn't make sense to me. But okay, it's like whatever. Anyway, so I wasn't interested. I was talking with people.
It's fair. It's fair.
During that one there.
Yeah. And then we had the last match of the pre-show, a traditional tag match. It was FTR, what seems to be ending their little mini feud, mini rivalry with the Outrunners. I thought this, I know from listening to you and listening to your reviews, you like the Outrunners, but you like them for what they are. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I thought this was a good.
Them.
Yes,
that's my thing. Don't push the Outrunners. I like the Outrunners, but don't push them.
Yeah, and I thought this was a pretty good feud for them. They got 2 or 3 matches with FTR, one of the best tag teams of all time, one of the best tag teams in the world. They held their own. FTR wins the feud as they should. But I thought that this whole thing with FTR and the Outrunners was fun business. This was a pretty good match to end the pre-show. I thought that this was a pretty decent tag match.
Yeah, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this FTR Outrunners program. It was really, really, really good. Good little TV program. I enjoyed the match enough. I preferred their Collision match from last week, which I thought was absolutely phenomenal. One of the best tag team matches this year, quite frankly. And I was kind of surprised. And I also like during their feud with FTR, they, the Outrunners remained the Outrunners, but they toned down the goofiness, right? They toned down the shtick, and I didn't hate that. I was like, just giving themselves a little more serious edge, because they know, okay, now it's serious business. FTR, these bastards, we can't just be all light and goofy about it. We gotta ground ourselves a little more. I didn't hate it, and if they try that out a little more, I can't say if they try that a little more and they continue having great matches like they had with FTR, I won't be able to maintain my position and say, hey, don't push them, right? So.
Yeah, and I feel like, I look at they're an overact. People like them. They're fun. But when they get, they knew they were going up against one of the best tag teams in the world, so they had to get a little bit more serious to hang with them. And I think if they did, I agree with you fully. I think if they did lean into that more, I actually think they could probably get a little more over. Because people, again, they come out and everyone's like, "Oh, this is going to be fun," but I still
these are the goofy guys.
Exactly. Nobody takes them seriously that much.
They're fun. We're into it. There's a lot of wink, wink, nudge, nudge. The audience is smart. Everyone gets it. Yeah. But in AEW, you can get yourself over much more through work. AEW has a high. AEW fans have a high working standard. And if you can hit it, that will get you over. We've seen people. Jamie Hayter's always the best example. Jamie Hayter was not someone who was meant to be pushed. She was, she was Britt Baker's heater. But then next thing you know, she's having wrestling matches and she's kicking ass, and people just naturally got behind her. Yep. It could be the same type of thing with the Outrunners. And if they can maintain that balance between, the silly gimmick, but putting on great matches, then you have a recipe for something that could be really, really good.
I agree. Before we dive into the main card, I want to say hi to Fernando, Scott, Maria in the chat, Zach, all you people popping in the chat. Hello, Ryan, you as well. Ryan saying that Pluggo's faking. Wow. The
allegations.
That is a strong accusation, my friend. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know, but we'll see. Pluggo will have to answer next week, I guess.
Yeah.
But, then we went over to the main card, and it was time for All In. And this show started off with the AEW World Trios Championships on the line, as it was the Death Riders, Claudio and Wheeler Yuta, teaming up with Gabe Kidd to take on the Ops, Shibata, Samoa Joe, and Powerhouse Hobbs. Fun match. Good opener. I thought maybe one of the gauntlet matches would open the show, but I thought that this was a good choice. It kind of, as the show goes on, you kind of look at this match, and I think this match kind of set the tone for how the Death Riders evening might be going, and going the rest of the way, and like the baby faces in general. I thought the baby faces had a very strong day at All In. And I think that this match kind of set the tone for that and kind of what was to come for the rest of the show. I thought this was a fun match. Obviously, we had the spot afterwards where we saw Samoa Joe get attacked and taken out via stretcher and, that type of stuff. But it seemed like the crowd was hot from the start, and this match gave them very much reason to be. I thought this was a lot of fun.
It was a good match to open. People love Samoa Joe. People just love Samoa Joe. It's just as simple as that. So it was a good idea to bring him out early, get this one squirreled away. And then you understand with the post-match angle, then you understand why they wanted to do it early, because the idea was to establish that, Samoa Joe, who had pledged to help Hangman against the Death Riders, the Death Riders the Death Riders made sure that he would not be available.
Yeah,
they decided to take him out. So doing that early on in the evening sets you up, and you're sort of thinking, you're like, oh, okay, what else is on the menu? What else can they do here? Because there's a lot of people who said they'd help out, or now Samoa Joe is out of commission. So So you sort of wonder what was going to move on. No, this was a fine opener. I thought it was a good little opener. I enjoyed it. Crowd was into it. People hate Wheeler Yuta too. We got to point that out.
Oh yeah.
We had a blast chanting "fuck you Yuta" the entire way, and And yeah, no, it was a good open. And here's one thing I want to put over, because I don't think people talk about this enough. How the ops now feel like they've become a vehicle to get Powerhouse Hobbs over.
Yes.
Hobbs, every time he gets tagged into these matches, gets great reactions. People do the meat things when he starts whooping people. The spine buster always gets a huge reaction. This, I know it was an unfortunate circumstance because of Hook's injury that brought Hobbs into the fold, but this is probably the best use of Hobbs that they've established, that they've done with him since, well, probably going back to, Team Taz, I guess. But even there, you could maybe question something. And I think he's grown into the role. I think he's becoming more confident. Look, he's hanging out with Samoa Joe. Yeah. He's hanging, another big dude can be like, look, this is how you act. This is how you have to be when you want to be a badass in the ring, when people want to take you seriously. Like, you can't have a better teacher than Samoa Joe. You've got Katsuyori Shibata there, guiding you along, giving you pointers, and who is a trainer by definition. So of course he's picking shit up, right? I really do believe that the ops is now a vehicle that will get Powerhouse Hobbs over, by design or not. We're really going down that road. And the reactions that he was getting in the building were on par with some of the biggest stars of the show. Without a doubt.
Yeah, that's a good point to point out right there, because I do think it's true. I do think that this is a really good spot for him in this group, in this team. He is getting those reactions. They let him carry some of these matches too, where he's in there most of the time and he's hitting all his stuff.
You're right. There was one a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, they had a trios match or an 8-man or whatever, and he was doing all the work. Yeah, Shibata and Joe were just like, they were like, "You want to tag me in? Okay." And they come and do a thing, and they tag right back out to him, and he was carrying the match. Yeah,
I thought the main event of Dynamite last night in the 6-man, he did a lot of the work in there too. And I think, it wasn't teaming with the ops, but he was still put in that same position that he has been being put in with the ops, where he kind of carried the show. He had one of the, before the last big tag to Hangman, he had a big hot tag in there too. Like they're setting him up in these positions to succeed, and he's knocking it out of the park.
And he gets in the ring, and he's with Jon Moxley, who just lost the title, but it's Jon Moxley, and he gets in the ring, and Jon Moxley's face turns white, and he goes, standing. They're doing everything to get this guy over. They're doing it super low key, and they're doing it well. They're doing it the good old pro wrestling way, where you just put him in matches and let him get himself over, doing big strongman stuff, which is what he excels at. That's what he's for. And we got to keep an eye on Hobbs. At some point, they won't be able to contain him anymore, and there's going to be you can feel that there's already support, that fans want to see more of him. And he's getting TV time, so on and so forth. So I think the ops is perfect for him.
Yeah, I agree. We then went over to the men's casino gauntlet match. We knew that Mark Briscoe and MJF would be starting the match, and then the fellas that joined them, we had Ricochet, Bandito, Konosuke Takeshita, Mystico. I have the list here. Don't mind me. Beast Mortos, Brody King, Josh Alexander, Kota Ibushi, Platinum Max Caster, Roderick Strong, and really the surprise of the Battle Royal was the return of Rock Hard Juice Robinson, a new clean-shaven Rock Hard. He looked a little like Bo Dallas. I know a lot of people are saying that, but a striking resemblance to clean-shaven Bo Dallas. But really good to see Rock Hard Juice Robinson back. That was fun to see him. He was kind of the surprise of the match.
And the guns.
Yeah, and the guns as well. Yes.
By association. Yeah.
Yes. That was a lot of good stuff. So I assume that we will see them most likely back together of some sorts, I would think, with how we saw that go down. This ended up being MJF's gauntlet match. It kind of seemed like he was the favorite going into it. I thought Mark Briscoe was excellent throughout this whole gauntlet match. And at the end, he hits the Jade Driller on Roderick Strong, and it looks like he is going to pull through, and he is actually going to get this big victory. But MJF does the thing where he gets in here, he gets rid of Mark Briscoe, and he steals the win from Briscoe. And then, I don't want to be jumping around too much, but the promo that Mark Briscoe cut last night on Dynamite, that was some incredible stuff. And I just think that I've always loved Mark Briscoe. I've always said that every time he's on my TV screen, I have a good time. I feel like this little mini feud with MJF has leveled him up a bit. And I think he's doing that promo last night when he was talking about how, MJF invoked Jay's spirit in him. And the way that promo was, he was being more serious. It kind of felt like there was Jay in him. In that promo. And I don't know, I've always been a huge fan of the guy when he was in the tag team and even now as a solo guy. I saw a promo like that and I'm like, that's a guy that if he continues to perform at this level, if you wanted to make a run with him towards the top of the company, the crowd is 1,000% going to be behind that guy. You know what I mean? That's kind of the vibe I got.
No, I agree. I've been talking about it for a while on my own podcast. I think Mark Briscoe he's a guy who well, not only do I know because we see it, he's a guy who comes in every match and he gives 110%. He never half-asses anything. And we're talking about matches, but promos is the same thing. This is a guy who lives, breathes pro wrestling and only knows how to do pro wrestling in one gear. He's only got this, and thankfully it's fifth gear, all the time. He doesn't know how to do it anywhere else, and he's always working hard. He gets great reactions from the crowd because people really like him. So he's been losses, never gets the big win, so on and so forth. And at some point, you're like, no, you got to do something with Mark Briscoe now. You just you have to do something. The Ring of Honor World Championship was nice, but it's Ring of Honor, and quite honestly, JPJ, no one gives a shit about Ring of Honor these days. For reasons that go beyond the pro wrestlers, right? I don't know if he's top guy material, but I can absolutely buy him going on a TNT run, winning a Continental Classic, however they're handling the Undisputed, the United Championship, I can absolutely see him going on a run to try and to get a mid-card singles title. I think it would work perfectly. And it's kind of like the Eddie Kingston run of 2023, right? Where it's Eddie, he's just a guy that the audience really loves, and suddenly he, the perennial loser, but then he has this great stretch where he's winning a title in New Japan, he's winning the Continental Classic, and he's got this great groundwell of support. Then quickly he loses his titles and whatnot, but that's fine because it's Eddie Kingston. He's a guy who's his value, I think, is in the chase instead of as opposed to the reign itself. But I'm getting off track here. There you go. Shout out Pluggo. But as far as Briscoe goes, I think you have to do something with Mark. He's been way too important a player. He's been so incredibly consistent. The crowd loves him. The crowd loves Mark Briscoe. I think it's time to just give him something that he can chew down on, and the crowd will be 100% behind it.
Yeah,
I sincerely believe that.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, in a match like this, there are so many spots and so many moments. I thought the Mystico entrance looked very cool. It looked like the crowd was loving that and all. And then kind of running back the him and MJF stuff throughout the match was really good. We got a call back to one of my favorites, Brody King choking out MJF. That we got the famous thing from Dynamite last week or a few weeks back. That's another guy in Brody King that I feel similar what we're talking about Mark Briscoe. Like at some point, that guy needs to be winning things. And that guy, the groundswell of support that he gets from the crowd just gets louder and louder every week. And he has great matches. He looks like nobody else in the wrestling world. Like he's got everything you want. And he has these great performances, but he always loses at the end of these great performances. And at some point, similar to what you were just saying about Mark Briscoe, like you got to do something there too, because there's specialness with that guy too.
I think there's money on the table with Brody King. Yes, absolutely.
Big time. But I thought all in all, this was a pretty good gauntlet match. It had a ton of action. There was some comedy spots. All in all, I thought it was really good. But like I said, I think everybody was expecting MJF to win.
Yeah.
And MJF did win. Not saying that, predictable is wrong. I think him being the next challenger for Hangman, or kind of, flirting around Hangman, makes sense. They've been building that for a while with backstage segments these last handful of months and stuff like that. But a predictable winner
to
the gauntlet match. But all in all, I thought it was a good time. Was the crowd hot throughout this gauntlet match? Like, was everyone...
there was a period in the middle that it sort of lost steam, where, because personally, I thought it was fine. But and I kind of feel like there was this real long stretch in the middle, after Juice came out, which gave a good jolt of electricity. I think after that, people were just like, there was just guys showing up, right?
Yeah.
And here's what I think made the initial gauntlet, the first two, if I remember correctly, really, really successful, is that it had this mixture of mid-card guys, but also top guys.
Yeah.
And within that, you had a surprise. You had one or two, like, oh shit, it's this guy coming in out of nowhere, kind of thing. And I understand that you couldn't mix in your main event guys into this gauntlet, because the main event guys were all doing main event shit that night.
Yeah.
But I also think that I think it lasted like 34 minutes. I think
it was
really
long.
Too long.
Yeah.
And it didn't succeed in captivating the hearts and minds like previous gauntlets have. Particularly, I'm thinking mostly of the first two.
Yeah.
Because the other gauntlets that we've had with AEW have kind of been bog standard. They've been fine, but nothing more. And I got to tell you, JPJ, after this one, I think I'm out on the gauntlets.
Okay.
Until, and I think AEW should be too, until they can do one where they can have a mix of top guys, mid-card people, and throw in like a big return or a big surprise. Look, I had worked myself into believing that Bryan Danielson was going to be in the gauntlet.
Okay.
I was like, man, like, because it'd be perfect. That would be the best big surprise for this match, the big shot in the arm. Bryan Danielson shows up, and then you're like, oh, well, fuck, is MJF going to win now, right? Because Danielson is in this. Now it suddenly it doesn't become as clear. So as it stands for the gauntlets, I thought it was, for this one here, I thought it was fine. And for the gauntlets in general, I think I'm out. I think I'm officially out. I'm going to have, the next time they announce one, I'm going to have a really, really hard time getting excited about it. Now, I agree with you. They did a really good job giving it some juice with MJF and Mark Briscoe. I agree with you saying that Mark Briscoe probably exits this with a little more momentum behind him. I agree with you as well. It was nice to see Mystico there too. Like you said, the crowd was into it because, well, you have there's a substantial Mexican population in Texas, and they knew the song and they were singing in Spanish. And, I tried to crash course learning the song before coming in to be able to sing along, but, I chose not to, because then it just sounded like, some gringo trying to mouth the word. So I sort of left that go, but Juice got a big reaction. But other than that, it's like, oh, Beast Mortos, yay! No one was like, ugh, what is this? It's just like, oh yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this guy. Oh, Kota Ibushi. Yeah, neat.
Yeah,
But it just ran out of gas. It just ran out of gas.
Yeah, and I think it was lacking that. You have MJF in there who is legitimately a top guy. He's legitimately a top guy. Yeah. And I think Mark Briscoe can be one. I think Brody King can be one. I think there's plenty of guys in here that could be one. But MJF was really the only legitimate top guy in this match. And you need somebody. Brian Daniel, even if Adam Copeland would have returned in this moment, and somebody
or
to
Darby
create, or Darby, somebody to create doubt that MJF isn't clear in a way.
Not a clear path suddenly.
Exactly. So, and then we talked a little bit about the Adam Cole stuff, just super unfortunate. Best wishes out to him. Obviously, we found out after the event it's concussion related. So obviously.
It's not good. Like, this is not going to be good. Unless he starts, I don't know if he goes to see these doctors that Danielson and Copeland and Christian Cage all went to see, that suddenly were able to revitalize their careers. Like, he's been concussion prone, and if he's just taking a flat back bump and he goes into concussion protocol, brother, this is not good. Like, it has the potential to be career ending, and it's very, very sad.
It is. And it felt that way. You could see the emotion on his face immediately walking down to the ring. And obviously what he said, when you throw out the word, when you mention retirement, that means you've been thinking about retirement. He said, I'm not in the right headspace to talk about it, but it means you've been thinking about it. And it just had that vibe. Hopefully it's not the case, clearly. But it just had that vibe that this could be, really a long-term, if not a permanent thing. And obviously we wish the health is more important than pro wrestling. So, obviously, but, and it put a little bit of a damper on the show in that moment, as you would expect it to. We kind of dove into the 4-way. I thought the 4-way, it happened. It was a match that happened. Nothing spectacular. The ending, like you said, I understand why they did it, to kind of bring the crowd back to life. I thought they were just going to stick to the plan and give it to Fletcher, but I understand why they did it. I don't think we need to have a long form Kyle Fletcher, Dustin Rhodes feud. They can just have the match kind of as quickly as they want, and just kind of, it feels like you said, it's not an if, it's a when. So we don't need to have a 1 month like a 6-week build to all. I feel like this is something we can do on a Dynamite on Collision, or Collision if you need, and just kind of get us to where we were supposed to go. But I understood the decision in real time, because it's, hey, the crowd is clearly going to be down. Let's just kind of give them something to get, excited about for the rest of what we're going to give them. You know what I mean? So, and what they gave them next was quite a tag match, Warren. Swerve and Will Ospreay against the Young Bucks. Obviously, if the Young Bucks lose, they lose their EVP roles. And if Swerve and Ospreay lose, they cannot challenge for the World Championships for 1 calendar year. I was dead wrong about this match. I thought once they made the second stipulation for Swerve and Ospreay, I actually thought the Young Bucks were going to win.
Same.
And it did not go that way.
What we were doing.
It did not go that way. Not that I cared, because this match was amazing.
That's phenomenal.
Amazing match. It was my match of the night.
Really? Okay. Let's go.
It was my match of the night. Not the best story of the night. We'll get to that, but it was my match of the night. I loved everything about this. I thought this was, people have all these opinions about the Young Bucks, but then the Young Bucks go out there and they do this shit every single time. And it's like, how do you talk shit, guys? How do you talk shit?
Let's put it this way. Everyone has opinions about the Young Bucks, and they're all wrong.
Yeah. It's just like,
as simple as that.
What more do you need to see? What more do you need to see?
They're incredible. Look, and here's the thing. Look, 2023, right? I don't know if you remember, the Bucks were around and they were doing stuff, but everyone was kind of like, man, what happened to the Bucks? Yeah. Right? That was kind of like the vibe was like, are they washed? Are we done? Are the Bucks done? And then they come back with their EVP gimmick last year, and then they start getting back into the groove of things, and particularly I find since they return at the New Japan show, since then they've just been absolutely phenomenal. It's just we're back in 2015 in Reseda, and it's like they never missed a beat, and they're still creating new double team moves, and you're like, what the fuck are these guys doing? They're still as great. They legitimately are one of the best tag teams of all time. They're
for sure.
and you could make an easy argument for being the best, and I wouldn't argue, I wouldn't complain if you did. They're easily top 3. Like, you know, at the if we're being open and open-minded, they're easily one of the top 3 greatest tag teams of all time, and they just keep on doing it. The stuff that they were doing in this match again is just phenomenal. And it's not just the stuff they do, right? It's how they react to each other and the little things that they do to make you feel like this is a contest that where you have a partner and you have to have a connection with your partner to make this work. The way they reach out for each other, they're always in sync, that they're looking they're looking out for each other. You know, the finish is the perfect example of that, when I think it's Matt who gets knocked off to the floor, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's Nick who's left alone in the ring.
No, the other way around. The other way around.
Okay.
Yes.
So Matt is left alone in the ring while Nick has been dispatched on the floor. This is after the sequence where Swerve starts taking bullets for Ospreay, for Ospreay, who's been eating a super kick party all by his lonesome. And he and Nick's in trouble, and he knows he's in trouble, and he's had, you know, they always have these reflexes, the Bucks, when you look at their matches and you're really into it, where they're always like, they're looking for the other guy, they're always looking where the other guy is, and now he looks to the corner, and they don't show it on camera, like they don't zoom in, at least not from where I was watching it, but they don't like zoom in on his face, you know, to get the expression, but you can see it in his movement, like he's on the mat and he reaches over and he looks towards his corner where Matt should be, but he's not there. And Nick just sort of, his head lowers a bit. Like he knows he's fucked.
Yeah.
He says, oh shit. You know, and then you get the double team hidden blade.
Like the total elimination, hidden blade, house call.
There you go.
Yeah, very, very cool.
The Bucks are so incredibly good. So that's my point. Is like the smallest little details that make you feel like they're a team, that they're on the same page all the time, doing having a vibe for each other with throughout the match. It's insane. It's practically unnatural.
Yeah, really. And that spot that you mentioned with Swerve kind of standing up and taking the bullets for Ospreay, with kind of the nice callback to when Ospreay took the bullet for Swerve, that kind of started this in motion. I just think those little things that AEW does so well about callbacks, and we'll talk more about callbacks when we get to the main event and all that stuff. But I just thought it was, you know, and Swerve and Ospreay are clearly no slouches either. You're talking about two of the best wrestlers in the world on the other side as well, and they were excellent, as you would expect in this match too. It was just 4 top level, out of this world guys doing their best, and it was just incredible. It was incredible.
World-class pro wrestling is what we got. World-class pro wrestling. And yeah, I'm here gushing about the Bucks, of course, but you know, Swerve and Will.
Yeah.
Think about this type of match, makes you think about just how incredibly complete these guys are on every level, where it's just like they're so good that you put them in, you drop them in any type of situation, you say, this is where we need you here, and they're gonna outperform the spot they're put in regardless where they go, right? And Swerve has grown into that role. Will has been doing that role for 2 to 3 years right now. Like they're put in a tag team match, right? Where they just could have been like, yeah, it's fine, it's a tag team match. But no, like they decide to work it on the highest level possible. Why? Because these guys are fucking amazing, and they're 2 of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. All 4 of these guys are 4 of the best pro wrestlers on the planet. Yep. But these 2 other guys, they're singles dudes that you just put into this, and they're able to come across as a high level, logical tag team, you know, that could have been doing this forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're phenomenal. It's just it was an absolutely incredible match. You know, you make this your, you know, you want to make this your match of the night. I'm 100% with you. It's my second for me. It
was more like 1 and 1A for me, but this one had a slight notch because you know, when they do these tag matches this way, especially the Bucks, when they're hitting like they hit,
God,
it just makes me feel things that not everything else does. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of,
I get you.
And even last night, I just think we're in for a fun few months with the Young Bucks just eating shit from everybody. And I just thought the way we saw it last night with them showing up in the very eco-friendly car, no limo, getting their own bag. Why are you filming us? Getting their own bags. Their office is in the doldrums of the building. Renee's giving them shit. The introduction by Justin Roberts was hilarious. Like, just the Bucks and the Comic Sans fucking video board. They like, and you know that they're gonna eat that shit up, and they're gonna make it as over the top as they can because they're the Bucks, and it's gonna be. I just think we're in. I think I saw Sean on Twitter called them. I'm really excited for the bum ass Bucks we're about to see, and it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a really good time.
And they're gonna do all this nonsense, and then they're gonna turn around and they're gonna have kick ass matches.
Yeah, because
whether
it's
in trios matches or singles or trios tag team. That's the thing. They're outstanding. But this match, like, there were 4 matches on this card that had to deliver. Mm-hmm. And this, for me, in my opinion, this was one of them. And holy smokes, did it ever deliver.
Absolutely.
And it was perfectly placed too. I think after the gauntlet, like, especially for me, where the gauntlet sort of left me, this was a match that I really needed. I really needed something kick-ass. And wasn't it nice that they brought out JoJo Offerman?
Oh, it was wonderful
to sing Swerve's old indie theme.
The indie theme, yeah, and the fireflies behind her on the board was a nice touch, and that whole moment wasn't that nice? It was very nice, and it was special, and that's another thing that you know. Obviously, we know why the fireflies were on the board behind her.
Sure,
Bray Wyatt was never in AEW, and it's things like that AEW does that makes them the company that they are. Like, they didn't have to do that reference. They didn't have to do that honor kind of to, you know, that moment. And the fact that they do, it just kind of shows you how both companies kind of operate and how AEW does their business. And that was just a wonderful moment. It was just truly a really sweet, nice moment for her. And just, it felt like the whole place was really into that.
Now, the one thing that's unfortunate is that it didn't come across in the building that it was JoJo. Like,
okay.
It was probably I didn't know if you got a Chiron on TV or
they did a
okay, because it didn't come across. It was people who were like, oh, they have some singer out there. Then you pop on social media and you see people reacting. And, you know, I was telling people in the seats around me, so no, it's Bray Wyatt's wife.
Yeah,
really? Yeah. That's what everyone's saying on social media. So then everyone's like, oh shit, this rules.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, I thought it was great, you know, doing Swerve's old theme. You know, it was a really nice touch. You know, the one critique that I do have, and then we'll move on to the next match. The one critique that I do have isn't even with the matches; it's with the presentation, the entrances.
Okay,
because you know, Will had the Assassin's Creed tie-in, right? He had the Assassin's Creed thing. And, of course, you do the promo thing. You know, Ubisoft is probably giving you lots of money. That's fine. Mm-hmm. You do your thing. Then you had Swerve's entrance with JoJo Offerman. And then you had the Bucks do their entrance, you know, with the proclamation or whatever the fuck. And I'm like, hey, is this match ever going to start? You know?
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah.
It was a little long. Like, if you know, you could have easily cut the Bucks one, quite frankly. You know, you really could have. And the thing is that if these guys had the same entrances in different matches throughout the night, it wouldn't have come across as long. But you had 3 special entrances, one after another, which all took a substantial amount of time. You're like, all right, let's go. You know, kind of thing. That was my main criticism for this part of the show.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. I think that's fair because obviously special entrances are longer than the normal ones, and you do all of them. And I didn't after the JoJo stuff, Swerve got wrapped to the ring too, right? Didn't he? Didn't he have?
Yes.
Yeah. So there was like
Yes.
a performer with him the whole way down as well. So yeah,
Absolutely.
And then it was time for the women's casino gauntlet match. I preferred this one to the men's.
So did I.
I thought this was actually pretty.
You know why? You know why? It
Why?
was shorter. There were less people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just as simple as that.
Yep. Chris Statlander and Megan Bain started the match, and then joining them in order were Willow Nightingale, Ty Mello, Tekla, Julia Hart, Queen Aminata, Mina Shirakawa, Athena, which had probably the largest ovation of anybody in the gauntlet, Thunder Rosa. Well, actually, until Shuri made her debut, and that was quite a scene. And then we've seen a couple of vignettes for her, but then we saw Alex Windsor as well make her presence felt, and she was the last entrant in this match. But I thought overall, like you said, there were less people in this. I feel like this was more wide open, I feel like, as well, of who could win. Which made it better for me as a viewer. I don't know much about Shuri. I know she's wonderful, and I've heard all the praise and seen all the praise, but I haven't seen much of her in general. But obviously, the crowd was super pumped that she was there because I think they were like, "Ooh, hopefully we can get some matches that we've been dreaming about with her around these parts." And then I thought Alex Windsor looked strong too in her short time in the gauntlet. But this saw Athena win the gauntlet. I loved it. I did not pick her just because I was of the thing like, hey, listen, for whatever reason, they don't book her like they book the other Ring of Honor people. So I would like Athena to win, but I'm not going to believe she's going to until I kind of see it thing. Well, I saw it. They did it. They gave her the victory in her hometown, home area. The crowd was all loved it. The crowd popped. I think everyone did, really. Everybody was pumped that Athena not only was in this match, but she won the thing. This seemed like a moment that was one of the top moments of the evening for the live audience, for sure, with Athena getting the victory.
Huge reaction for a victory. Kind of along the lines of Dustin's, right? It's the local girl who does it. But then on top of that, you know, I think there's a lot of people who really just naturally like Athena as well. And look, it's a great choice. It's a great choice. I think Athena has to stop slumming it in Ring of Honor. Like, okay, I understand that she has this incredible record holding the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. You know, she's the longest tenured champion, you know, men and women in the entire history of Ring of Honor, right? So I get it. It's something interesting, but you know, and a lot of people, you know, I don't want to say a lot of people. Let me say that again. When the arguments for whether Athena should come up to AEW or not, there's a contingent of people who say, well, Athena needs to why would she go to AEW? She's the face of Ring of Honor, right? And to that I say, what's the point of being the face of a promotion nobody watches? You know? And 100%. God bless her, you know, she's not driving subscriptions to the service. Like, in all honesty, right? We're not Ring of Honor is not this successful, Honor Club is not this successful streaming service for Tony Khan or whatnot. If it were, he would be telling us that it was successful.
Yeah.
He would be pumping out those numbers. But it's not working. And I think Athena has much more potential in AEW and shining on that stage than slumming it in Ring of Honor at this point. Maybe there was a time where we were a lot more hopeful that Tony was going to land a deal for Ring of Honor, and then we'd be like, Athena's going to have her moment to shine. But no, that ship is, not only has this ship sailed, it's crossed the ocean and it's docked on the other side. Okay, we're done with it.
Yeah,
we gotta focus on what she should be doing now, and she deserves to be in AEW. She belongs in AEW. She should be a part of this fucking roster that they have now.
Yeah.
What an incredible you rattled off the names. JPJ.
Yeah, it's very strong.
This fucking core roster that they have for the women's division is nuts.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Shuri is going to be on loan or if she's going to have like a dual deal or if she's coming straight up to, she's saying goodbye to Stardom and coming over to North America permanently. But this is a fucking great roster they have.
Yeah.
And I'll even compliment that a little more. Megan Bain, Statlander to start off. That was tremendous. Willow comes in. Willow gets the huge reactions wherever she goes, brother. Okay. Willow came out and she got a tremendous reaction because everyone loves Willow Nightingale. So she comes out and then they start doing just like Haas stuff, And then Ty Mello, I think, is the next one.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, she was.
And Ty blows a couple of spots. And you're like, okay. And then I can't remember everyone who followed, but then you do have like Tekla coming.
Tekla was next. Yeah.
And Aminata and everyone has this snap to them, and they all feel like they belong right now. Mm-hmm. Whereas Ty feels like she belongs in another era of AEW. Like, and I don't dislike her. That's not the point. So I look at her work compared to everyone else who was around her doing this in this match. And I'm like, she, one of these things just doesn't belong right now. You know what I mean? It's just, she's from an other era that, okay, you can argue, well, Warren, it's not really fair. She gave birth. She had to get back in shape. Sure. Okay, fine. But nonetheless, like, it stands out when you have this incredible core wrestling group, roster that is incredibly deep. It's insane how deep it is. I don't know if we can. I can't necessarily sit to watch a Dynamite and Collision with this deeper roster and say, oh yeah, let me put on more Penelope Ford for me, put on more Ty Mello. Where's Serena Deeb? No, I don't care anymore. I don't like that. There's another ship that's passed.
Yeah.
The gauntlet showed that the core roster of this division is large and deep, talented. There's so much good stuff to come out of it. And if they're throwing in women like Shuri, like that, on top of it, oh my God, like it's Shuri is legitimate, right? Like she's, I fell completely head over heels for her work. I think it was in 2022 when she had a run in Stardom as their top champion. She was in a feud with Utami Hayashishita, which was tremendous. I think it was 2023. I think it was 2022. And like, she's a legitimate ass kicker, right? She has MMA background. She has, she's got everything going for her. Look, if you don't know enough about Shuri, and everyone who's watching right now, I suggest you go take a look at her match against Sari that she had this past February at the Sariism show. Sari puts on her own shows in Japan, and they had an extremely good match where they kicked the shit out of each other, and that'll give you. And it's available for free on YouTube on Sari's channel.
Nice.
So I definitely suggest you go check that out if you're completely unfamiliar with Shuri. She's a badass. She's kick ass. So if they're adding her into the mix as well, this division has never looked as good or as strong as it does right now. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. And I know obviously you have something to do with this list, but she was the number one wrestler on the 2022 PWI Women's 150
there you go.
As well.
There you go. That was my first list on top of that.
There you go. So she has that to her credit as well. So obviously we're talking about a top caliber, whether it is an add-on, whether it was a one-off for a little bit and she comes back, who knows? But yeah, that's a good add. And then you even see the four-way that they had last night on Dynamite. Spectacular.
Was really good.
Very good. Just a very good
Very
match.
good.
Like Statlander, Willow. It was just really good. It was really, really good. And then the way it worked, where like Statlander and Willow kind of went off, and they let Tekla and Aminata, who have been feuding, kind of finish that match one-on-one. It was just really well done. And you see that caliber of the roster, and you're like, this stuff should be happening every week, and like more of this. There shouldn't just be one of those matches a week. Like, give us more. You have the talent, you have the roster, just do it, you know? And it's really good stuff that they've been building for the last little bit when it comes to the women's roster here on AEW. So
I just real quickly, I really like the fact that Tony has reverted back to putting on multi-man matches on TV. You know, I know there's people who don't like them. But you know, here's the things, like not everything has to be a singles match. Save your singles matches for special things. You can build feuds and people can get themselves over in these multi-person situations. And the fact that they're doing it more and more with the women, I think it's good. I think it's fun that they did the $100,000 bonus gimmick with the women. I think that's really good.
Yeah,
that was fun. Queen Aminata, just want to point out real quickly, you know, I think I've been a big fan of hers since the beginning. I've always said you just need to give her the slightest pushy push, and she's going to get herself over. I love this feud that she's having with Tekla, one that started off with some legitimate hard feelings, and they continue to translate into this aggressive, like nice little TV feud, which I'm really into. But I'll tell you, JPJ, if they, I don't know why they're not doing it, but if they left Aminata be as aggressive and violent as she is in Deadlock Pro, because she does show up quite often in Deadlock Pro, if they let her show up with that attitude, holy shit, like people would freak out. She is such a vicious, awful human.
Wow. All right.
in Deadlock. Like, she's really, really nasty. She works so stiff and snug at the same time. You know, everything has a creative direction. Of course, there's certainly reasons for it, but the Aminata that like sometimes I see it pop up, especially when she's doing things with Tekla, because you get the impression they don't really care for each other all that much. You know, they're working with each other because they're pros, but otherwise, like, I kind of don't like you, and you don't like me, so let's just hit each other really, really hard, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they let DPW Aminata show up more, holy shit, she'd get herself over. Kind of like when Athena, you know, when Athena got herself over, you know, beating up people, right? Do you remember this? Like, she was being particularly stiff with people. It'd be the same type of situation.
I did not know that she was that way over there. I would very much like. I'm a big fan of hers as well.
She's foul-mouthed.
Oh, all right.
She's telling Masha Slamovich to fuck off, and she's tremendous. Oh no, she's really, really good.
I like it. All right, I'm gonna have to check some of that out. Ooh. All right. We then went into the 3-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Obviously, I believe the stuff that happened after this match is really bigger than the most interesting. I thought the match was fine.
Well, hey, big shout out to the Hurt Business having their first AEW pay-per-view where they are not the worst match of the show. Good for them.
There you go. I did think I actually liked the way that they built Jet Speed the previous 2 weeks with them.
I did too.
Kind of getting the shit beat out of them and never kind of laying down, and then kind of one-upping them, and really seeing the Hurt Syndicate get laid out the way that they got laid out with the patriarchy helping too. We hadn't seen the Hurt Syndicate be treated like that yet, you know, and that was the first time they were really laid out. They beat the crap out of MVP too. I thought it was really well done. But this match was pretty standard fare. To me, Hurt Syndicate wins. They retain as I expected them to. But really after the match, so towards the end of this match, Christian K, FTR is at ringside. They're doing commentary. Tony Schiavone just being as miserable as he ever could be with them sitting right next to him was wonderful. It was just a good little add-on to the match. Christian gets thrown into FTR towards the end of this match, and they get knocked over, they get pissed, all this is happening. Bobby Lashley hits a spear. on someone, gets the win, they retain. Okay. After the match, FTR slides in the ring, still pissed off, and they're barking at Christian and the patriarchy. And Christian is like, "No, guys, we're not getting involved with this. We're leaving. Let's go." And he starts to lead the troops out. And right as he gets to the ropes, Nick Wayne grabs him and gives Christian an unprettier right dead center in the ring. Mother Wayne is laughing. Kip Sabian is like, "Ah, yeah." And the FTR's reaction is wonderful. They're like, "Oh," they're like super surprised and like, "Oh shit, look at this." And they're like encouraging, come, let's do more. They go to get the chairs. They're like, "Let's concerto him. Like, let's fuck him up." Yeah. And the FTR's like egging him on. And then we hear, "You think you know me." Adam Copeland returns. Make sure he goes side to side on that stage before he gets down to that ring. Celebrating that. And look he said last night on Dynamite, which I actually thought might have been his best AEW promo, to be honest. He said, "I didn't go down there for Christian. I didn't go down there for Christian." So maybe that made some more sense, but he definitely Jeff Hardy'd the entrance where he was like, "I'm coming to save you, but I'm going to get my shit in first, buddy." And so he does that. He runs in. He kind of shoos off. He has Spike in hand. He shoos off the bad guys. He grabs a mic. Christian gets to his feet. And he looks at Christian, and then another callback. He says, "Go," and everyone's expecting maybe the "go fuck yourself" that Christian gave him. He goes, "Go find yourself." And he leaves. And I actually loved it, Warren. I love the "go find yourself." I think that kind of leaves it up to Chris. Hey, I know you're an asshole, but I kind of know who you are. We've been brothers, basically. Go figure your shit out so we can take care of business. And we saw the promo last night where he was a little bit stronger on Christian, basically calling him an asshole and, all that stuff like that. But we obviously know where this is going. All Out in Toronto. It's going to be Copeland and Christian versus FTR. It feels like it's Toronto. It feels like that's where we're going. I liked it. I liked all the after the match stuff, and I liked the callback with the "go find yourself" that they did.
Yeah, I mean, the match itself was perfectly fine. Again, it's just nothing to write home about. See, the interesting thing here is that excuse me, we've seen recently on AEW television, like for free, we've seen multi-man matches. We've seen quite a few of them that were much more exciting than this, right? It's kind of interesting. Then you get to the pay-per-view and you get like, "Oh, well, this should have been on a Collision," but you're like, no, actually, no, there's better matches on Collision. Collision should be giving us better matches than this. Bring back Rampage. But the idea that we had, the idea of everything that happened afterwards, look, we all knew this turn was going to happen. There was going to be a split within the patriarchy. I don't think anyone was expecting it there. And I thought it was a good moment to do it because you get the big Adam Copeland pop. And the angle was fine. The angle is I see what they're doing, where they're going with this. I was wondering what the catalyst was going to be to get Copeland and Christian Cage back together as a team, and I think it's become pretty obvious now what the path is going to be, and that's okay because I'm with you. It's going to be the Toronto show that's going to have the last ride of these two guys. I would assume. We'll see how it goes. Look, Adam Copeland is a big hit or miss for me in AEW. There's been things that he's been very good at. I thought that for a while, starting off, he was extremely good. Then his I guess his WWE instincts started kicking in for a while, and then it was like suddenly he's like, "Oh no, you're missing the point. This is not going to work with this audience. This is not the show to do this kind of stuff." And then we sort of circled back after during the Death Ride, during his feud with Moxley, they spun that around completely because it really sucked at the start of the year. But then after the Grand Slam Australia show, after that show, when they did they pivoted everything there. They did Moxley with the eating the bat in the back and all of that. then all of that story really turned around, and I felt Copeland got his footing again.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to what Adam Copeland we're going to get here. If he's working with Christian Cage, I am fairly confident that everything's going to be okay, because Christian has figured it out. Christian figured it out very, very early in AEW, what is going to work here and what's not going to work here. He never tried to insist that, with doing WWE things. He understood the vibe. He understood how the locker room operates. And he's like, okay, I'm going to adapt and transform, and I'm going to do things this way. And he's been a success story, right? On that level. Copeland, I kind of feel like when he was good, he was working with Christian. It was that whole TNT title feud and all that stuff. It was excellent stuff, but he was working with Christian. And I think Christian has a better handle on that kind of stuff. So if Christian has more creative input on this than Cope does, I think we can avoid some of Copeland's worst instincts, and get something good out of it. And FTR is there as well. And FTR have been there from the start to, well, not the start, but a while. I think I think we're well past the them being former WWE guys. I don't think anyone sees FTR like that anymore. It's very exciting to see what might happen next, but it's just, I think Copeland's a wild card in my opinion.
That's fair. Yeah.
There you go. But hey, what a reaction he got. It's the usual huge Metalingus reaction that everyone's up on their feet and singing. And I don't know I don't know the words to the song. You know the words to the song, JPJ?
I know them enough that I could probably partake.
Okay. I don't know them.
Yeah. And I thought even last night they were in that cool venue in Chicago, and that crowd sang that song for a long time. And you could tell that Edge loved that. I just called him by his wrong name. You could tell Adam Copeland he really enjoyed that moment.
Edgeheads last night.
He did say Edgeheads, which I didn't know he could do, but he did say Edgeheads there. And I just think now he's going to go with Christian. I'm going to call them Edge and Christian so many fucking times.
We all are.
And it's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. It's not disrespect, I promise. But then we turned our attention to the AEW Women's World Championship match. It was Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, challenging Toni Storm, the AEW Women's World Champion. I'm going to be honest. I know a lot of people were expecting or picking Mercedes heading into this. I was pretty steadfast that I thought Toni was going to retain this whole time. You picked Mercedes?
Yep.
Yeah,
I was sure.
Yeah, and Pluggo was the same. We kind of went back and forth a little bit last week when we were previewing it, and I just said I think there's a story to tell where this is the start of the demise of Mercedes Moné, and she starts losing these belts and has to find herself. And I think especially if Athena maybe ends up becoming a world champion here at some point, you can build up to Mercedes maybe being a babyface, going back towards the AEW championship against heel Athena. I just think there's a way you can do that if you kind of break Mercedes down a bit. And I was hoping that this match would be like maybe the start of that. But all in all, I mean, you were there in the building. I really liked this match. I thought it was really good. It started off a little slow, but once they picked it up, and I liked it. I thought it was really, really good. But you were there live. Kind of talk to me about how you felt about this match for the AEW Women's World Championship.
This is the greatest women's match that we're going to see this year in on North American soil. It was my match of the night. It was absolutely.
This was my 1A.
Phenomenal.
This was my 1A.
I had as much. It's phenomenal. It's just absolutely remarkable from two women who are just at the top of their powers, right? On every level, presentation, star power, in ring. They're S level everywhere.
Yeah,
it's unfair.
Yeah,
it's unfair. Yeah. First of all, isn't it? I cannot believe JPJ. It blew my mind. I cannot believe that Mercedes Moné, would use her creative control to put over the champion so strong.
Yeah.
Cannot believe.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the word.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Because
It's-
she put over Tony Storm, clean as a sheet, strong as fuck. I'm so impressed with the finish. I love this match so much. There was aggression in this match. There was a nastiness to it, right? Where they had been building and build, and it all this entire build that they've had, it all came together because in story, when you look back and then everything becomes 2020 in hindsight. Mercedes came in just being arrogant, cocky, winning all her belts, and ended up just underestimating Tony. She wasn't prepared for Tony. Yeah. She was going to ringside. She was going to ringside and eating steak, and having these steak dinners. And like, what are we doing here, right?
Yeah.
What are we trying to say here? And then Tony Storm has this one moment where she comes to ringside and has a steak dinner, but she doesn't touch the steak at all. She doesn't take a sip of wine, nothing, and she just stares at the match the whole way. She's got her two eyes focused on. It was the Mina Shirakawa to
TBS
Mercedes match.
Yeah,
and she had her eyes focused on the. Completely devoid of emotion. Even commentary was like, what's up with Tony Storm? Because Tony never lost her eye, never took her eyes off the prize. She understood what needed to be done. She prepared. She got ready. She wasn't going around doing goofy shit, with the, I'm going to sit down and eat. No, she came to ringside to study her opponent. She was going to study her opponent. Mercedes, she was flippant, it's a tale as old as time. You got the other one who's just, oh no, I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to eat my steak and do all of these. I'm to Mercedes Moné, I'm so important, sip, and ultimately it bit her in the ass because she was not ready. She wasn't ready for Tony Storm. She just was not ready. And look, it's just good old fashioned pro wrestling. Just two people going in there, kicking the piss out of each other, and everything had, like I said, had a little more grit to it. Yeah. Every strike had a little more stank on it. Every stretch pulled back a little more, right? And I was into it, man. I was so into it when Tony did the three Storm Zeros and Mercedes kicked out. I was up on my feet. I was popped right out of my seat.
Yeah.
Clap. Let's go. I was so into it.
Oh my God. When that happened and Mercedes kicked out, I was like, oh, well, Mercedes is winning for sure. She's winning if she survived that. But then obviously the Avalanche one was Storm Zero to end the match was just wonderful. And it was just a work of art between these two. I want to see it again. I don't think it'll be a while before we do, but this was just tremendous. This was just a tremendous match.
Look, it was two very different directions depending on who you wanted to win here, right? And I think that the decision of continuing to elevate Tony Storm, to make sure everyone understands that she is a superstar, she is world class, she is one of the faces of this company. I think that's a huge statement, and I wouldn't even be at all surprised if we were to learn at some point that Mercedes lobbied to lose, where she was like, "No, this is fine.
Yeah,
this is absolutely fine."
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all.
And one last thing before we move on as well, I think it's doubly more important to emphasize here how wonderfully booked these two women have been for the past year, right? Tony, no need to reiterate that. Hollywood ending, chef's kiss. That it was a brilliant affair.
Yeah.
But Mercedes started getting a lot of shit because she never wins, she never loses. She's taking all these titles, The creative control bullshit started up, right?
Yep.
But JPJ, most of these people that complain about this are the dumbest people on planet Earth. And when I say that, I want to explain what I mean, right? Because there's a difference between not understanding something and between not understanding something and not understanding something, but speaking with your full chest as if you understand
like
something.
you do. Yes, exactly.
And that to me is where you are the dumbest person on earth. Because someone who is not dumb will stand back and say, wait, I don't quite understand here, so I'm not going to speak on this. But when you are the dumbest person on earth, then you will speak as if you are an authority, even though you don't understand. And so these people did not understand that one of the reasons that this match felt so big is because you had one person, one of these two competitors, who hadn't lost a single match up until this point, that legitimately had a streak, not a phony streak, a real streak that was put together, that happened right before our eyes. That was a person who's winning titles and whatnot. This would not have been as big or as successful if Mercedes had been losing matches right and left all through the year. And it's important to underscore that the booking here, I didn't know how far ahead this was planned, but the booking here was phenomenal. Mercedes coming in with all the titles, not having lost a single thing, added more pressure on Tony, added more stakes to the match. And only the dumbest, densest individuals on planet Earth were unable to see that. We saw it, JP Jacobs. We're brilliant.
Yeah, of course we are. Of course we are. No, I loved everything that was happening here in this match, and it was spectacular. I'm very intrigued to see where both of these ladies go next. We kind of know maybe a little bit of where Tony's. I'm intrigued to see what happens with Mercedes. When's the next time we see her? What's her state? How I'm intrigued to see where that story goes, because I think it could be a lot of fun if they start her kind of losing streak, losing her mind, doing all, kind of, it could be a lot. It could be a good time, because we saw the rise and we saw the cockiness. And I thought, before we move on here, when their last promo against each other, there was a line that Tony said where she looked at her and she said, "You speak to me as if I'm the underdog." And when she said that line, I loved. That was my favorite line of any line in any promo they did against each other, because Tony was like, I get that you are good. I know you're good. Like, Tony put her over. She said, you're one of the best. You deserve all these belts. In my opinion, you are great. But you speak to me as if I am not in your class. And that you are this is not going to end well for you if that's how you view me. And that's exactly what we saw. So
and look at how it turned out.
Yep.
Mercedes underestimated her.
Yep.
And
100%.
there you go. But very good. To me, it's a 5-star match. This is going to be on my list by the end of the year. It was incredible stuff. Just absolutely phenomenal stuff.
Really good. Really good. And then we were at the last two matches of our triple main event. It was Kazuchika Okada coming in as the Continental Champion, going against Kenny Omega, who was coming in as the International Champion. And they were unifying these titles to crown the first ever AEW Unified Champion. Obviously, a tremendous amount of hype for this match with Okada and Omega. 4 of the all-time great matches they had in New Japan during that stretch. And it had been a while since they had, matched up, especially North America, and things like that. A lot of hype, a lot of people thinking that, this was going to be the match of the show, that they were going to kind of do what they did. I thought the match was great. I know you mentioned it earlier that you thought it ended up being a great match. Obviously, it wasn't, what the other 4 matches were, but I think if you were thinking it was going to be, you were kind of already setting yourself up for, but I thought what we saw was a really good time. And I think they actually set up that we could see this again.
Sure.
The way that this was set up. Don Callis on commentary got his presence felt, prevented Kenny from winning at some point. We hit the one-winged angel, and Don pulled the ref out to kind of keep everything going. And I was wrong about this one too, Warren, because I picked Kenny Omega to win this match, and Kazuchika Okada did. And he is the first ever AEW Unified Champion. It really feels like they're going to make this belt basically like Heavyweight Championship 1A. That's kind of how it feels like they're going to be presenting. Like, it's going to be like a second heavyweight-ish title. Again, I thought I started off a little, collar and elbow kind of, whatever. But once it picked up, these guys put on a good, 30 minutes of wrestling here. This was really good. And like I said, I think it sets up that we could see this again in the future whenever Kenny returns from whatever, Don Callis on Dynamite said he's dead now.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I like the match a lot. I thought it lived up to kind of what my expectations were of the match, which was these two were going to go out there and have a really damn good match. And I thought that's what they did.
Look, they had an awesome match. They had an excellent match against each other once again. Look, I'm not gonna lie. When they both hit the ring together, gotta tell you, I'd be lying if I didn't get a little choked up.
Yeah, the feels.
I got it. I was deep into the New Japan at the time that they were going at it, so I was very excited at the prospect of seeing a Kenny Omega Kazuchika Okada match live. Like I was very, very into that. Crowd was into it. I don't know how well it came across on TV, but even before the bell rang, like people were chanting, "This is awesome." We even had a chant. I don't know if they picked it up. The we're not worthy chant followed as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bell rang, and then they got another pop.
Yeah, the place went nuts. Yeah, the place went nuts. Yeah.
Everyone understood the significance of this match. This is why, another little aside here. This is why when these dopes start talking about video packages, right? And they live and die by the video packages. And the crowd won't understand the video packages. I know they've been doing a couple of video packages. Well done. Well executed video packages. But you're not going to get that level of bell pop, okay, and excitement for a match palpable in an arena just by throwing a couple of video packages together.
Yeah,
you're going to get that level of excitement thanks to people who understand what's going on, right? More than just, oh yes, I understand thanks to the video package. No. People who really do get how deep this goes. So, I think that wrestling fans in general have to stop. Let me say that again. I think wrestling fans in general have to start taking offense when wrestling analysts, pundits, whatever you want to call them, start talking about, oh, this would have been better for a wrestling package so people would understand. Because you have to take offense to that, because it's basically someone telling you're too stupid to understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's fair. And I don't think people are that stupid. And I think anyone who believes that their audience of wrestling fans is too dumb to understand a setup to a wrestling match, I think that's kind of insulting. I think it's something where we sort of have to, oh, come on, man. Yeah. We understand what's going on. We're not complete and total doorknobs here. It's fine. We don't need to be spoon-fed. We understand what's going on. But that's my aside here. The match, look, this is the 5th Omega Okada match. If you were to say, hey, Warren, where does it fit on the in this top 5, in these 5 matches? Where would you rank it? I'd rank it 5th.
Yeah.
It's not as good as the others.
Yeah.
But they're all 7 years older. Both of them are 7 years older. Right. There's the wear and tear on the body. Kenny's banged up.
Oh, yeah.
Even outside of the diverticulitis, Kenny's been banged up for a while. Okada's younger, sure. I don't think he's in that bad a state, but at some point the body starts slowing down and stuff, and you can't do things as much as you could back in the day. I heard someone point out to me this, like, when Kenny did the dragon suplex, the avalanche dragon suplex, which is a callback to their matches. Okada back in the day would have taken it right on the neck.
Yeah.
But he twisted in air to sort of take it on the side.
Yeah.
That's because he didn't want to take it on his neck.
Of course.
He's older. That's fine. And that's to be expected. That's normal. Like you said, if you were thinking that they were going to have, one of their like the Wrestle Kingdom Classic, or the Dominion Classic, no, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, towards the end of the match, these guys start getting real fast and snappy.
Oh yeah.
And the final stretch, I'm like, okay, there they are, you know.
Yeah, this is them. Yeah,
There's Kenny, there's Kazuchika. There they are, and they're doing the thing, and they're hitting each other real hard, and they're going real fast, and they're doing in and out of moves, and you're like, okay, they still have it in them. They just can't do 30 minutes of this anymore.
Yeah,
they just can't.
Yeah,
or can they? Because, like you said, it kind of feels like we're going to go to something else here.
It does.
Kind of feels like we might have a rematch.
And
so,
maybe, yeah.
Are we keeping this for a rematch? And then in the rematch, it just blows our mind and we go, okay, we were all wrong. We were all stupid and wrong to doubt these two guys.
Yeah.
Because look at what they did. I don't know. And that's what's great about it. That's what's great about this match.
I agree. And I think that is a thing that could potentially happen. Because I think right now with the 5 matches, the record is what? 2-2-1, right? Now that Okada won that one, 2-2-1. So they need someone to win it, you know, and get that 3-2. So they got an even record basically now. You got this new championship. Obviously, we saw last night that it looks like Okada and Swerve are heading to something, which sign me up, please. And
Tremendous.
Thanks with that. That's going to be fun. So yeah, that's very good. And it looks like Kenny might be away for maybe a smidge here and then maybe come back at whatever. But yeah, it did feel like this was not the last time we're seeing Okada and Omega. And I think that scenario that you say is they have this for the next match, and they do kind of go back to that MVP type performance. They pull one out, and it's like, holy crap, these guys can still, because like you said, there were multiple, the ending for sure, but there were multiple small segments of the match where they were before the final stretch where it was just balls to the wall, like, you know, the whole time.
Yes,
there were picks and pops where they would do something and it was like, oh, all right, oh, there it was, yeah, and then they would slow it down, and then it was this, and then flashes. Yes, and then that ending stretch was like, all right, let's do this shit, and it was like, let's go, and yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. This was good. I really liked this match a lot. And then we were at the main event of the evening, Texas Death for the AEW World Championship. It was the champion Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. I mean, this match started off, first of all, Hangman comes out to the old theme. And once he comes out to the old, and I like the heel theme, but he's not that guy anymore. He comes out to the old theme, and once that theme hit, I could feel the crowd through my TV. I could feel it. And I was like, and I said, this is happening. This is happening tonight. We're doing it. Like, this is happening. And he had the pay-per-view whites, and you're like, those are going to be pink by the time this match is over. And they start, and he is stabbing Jon Moxley in the head disgustingly with the fork like 2 minutes into this match. And you could see the cuts forming as the camera angle, this score. I was like, this is gross. It was incredible. I'm like, this is just going to be disgusting. And they just beat the crap out of each other. They barbed wire, chairs wrapped in barbed wire, the bed of nails, the glass, and dragging Hangman through the glass, and you could see the cuts forming on his back and the pile driver into the glass. I'm just like, oh my God. It was beautiful. And then it turned into what we were kind of all expecting it to, with everybody, the Avengers assemble, everybody's coming out, and you know, we see the death. I thought Marina Shafir was a standout in this match. I thought she was excellent.
She's great in this role. She's been great in the heater role from the start. She's tremendous. Yeah, I think, but obviously, besides Moxley's been the champion, I think Marina has gotten the most out of this whole thing. Like the way they have portrayed her, and the way I get. And again, I don't like to compare, but I get like Triple H and China vibes. Yeah, that's how Moxley views her. Like, hey, this is my person who gets the shit done with me, but she can fuck me up at any moment too. And Moxley you can see that. And I think Marina has really gained the most out of all of the Death, in my opinion. But this was tremendous. You see the Death Riders make their presence felt. And then, you know, the Bucks are down, you know, and then we see Will Ospreay. He comes out, tries to make a hero's welcome, and he gets removed.
pretty quickly, gets a chair. Claudio does the stomp with the chair around his neck.
Yep.
He gets taken out. There was a report that came out that said he's going to be taking a little bit of time off. He's a little banged up and things of that nature. And then, everything else you get. You get Darby Allin sending a video on the Tron from the top of Mount Everest saying, Moxley, you took everything from me, so now it is my mission to come back and take everything from you. Then we see a guy in the corner wearing a Blue Panther mask, and he's doing a gesture that we were all pretty familiar with. He hits a Busaiku knee. He takes the mask off. Bryan friggin' Danielson is there. Crowd loses their shit. I'm losing my shit. And then we see Darby. I always get a little nervous when they're coming down from the rafters, but we see Darby then descending down. It almost was like he sends the video from the top of Mount Everest, and then he's like descending down from the top of Mount Everest. From Mount Everest.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And he gets there, and then he gets on the top rope and does the most Darby thing ever and does a coffin drop to the outside, takes everybody out. And then as it came down to what we were all assuming it would come down to, we see Swerve. And Swerve's on the outside. He takes out a few of the guys. He has a chain. And he looks at Hangman. Hangman's getting to his feet, and he walks towards the ring, and he just slides the chain into Hangman. And Hangman kind of gives him a look and a little nod. And Swerve kind of comes back, and that's turned into a meme now of Swerve with that expression. And there's a bunch of fun stuff. People say it's like the genie after he grants you your third wish, or the father who played it off like he wasn't going to give the kid the Christmas gift, but he does. There's some funny stuff. But we get that moment. Hangman grabs the chain, hits Moxley a few times, puts it around his neck, tosses him over the ropes, and Jon Moxley taps out. And Hangman Adam Page is once again the new AEW World Champion. And then after the match, I thought for a second he wasn't going to be able to get that briefcase open. I was like, oh God, please just get that thing open.
I get so nervous when wrestlers fiddle around with keys.
Yeah.
Every single time I get nervous.
Yeah. But finally the briefcase gets opened and we see the AEW Championship for the first time in 8 months. I thought it was such a wonderful touch that Danielson's plates were still on that belt. Yeah, I thought that was such a small but necessary thing because it showed that Moxley didn't give a fuck about that champion. It was not about that belt at all with what he was doing. And it was just wonderful. And the crowd, it was just the culmination of honestly almost a year. It was just wonderful. It was just wonderful. Man, it must have been amazing being in that building.
Look, everyone was on pins and needles for it. Look, the crowd was into Hangman. That show could not have finished any other way. Yeah, it really couldn't have. Kristen and I, we were joking. It was like, look, if Mox wins, we run.
Yeah, there's gonna be a riot.
Hell out of there.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been bad.
No, everyone it was. You could feel it. Everyone was electric about it. Everyone wanted it to happen. Mox losing in the exact same way he lost to Hangman at Revolution a couple of years ago, I thought was tremendous because Mox was so good because he did the exact same thing. He's choking and he's panicking, and then he does this one pause. Yeah, he does the exact pause and taps exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. I thought Mox was phenomenal with the finish. It was all good. I know there's a lot of people who are like, this is my match of the year and so on and so forth. And people are really, really high on it. I loved it, but I don't love it as much as other people do. But here's the thing. It's like, the reason why is because, and you know me, JPJ. Yep. I don't like too much nonsense in my wrestling. Yeah. When we're wrestling, so, when Darby shows up and Danielson shows up and Swerve shows up and Ospreay shows up, I'm like I was expecting it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm getting Cody versus Roman vibes, and I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. I really don't want this. I don't want this. I really want Hangman to win I want Hangman Page to beat Mox as clean as possible without any garbage, any nonsense. He's going to be the guy. Mm-hmm. Just let him beat him clearly, right?
Yeah.
Super clean. And I also, because of the run-ins and whatnot, which don't get me wrong, I was up on my feet pointing to the sky when Blue Panther ran in there.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
I bet. Yeah,
I
oh,
mean,
yeah.
trust me.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
I was into it. I'm not going to sit there. I'm not going to pretend to you and the Love Wrestling audience, JPJ, that I was sitting there with my arms crossed, going,
Yeah,
with
of course.
one of these.
Yeah.
No, I was into it, but because of all of that, I also felt like Mox and Hangman didn't go as far as they could violence-wise, because it's a Texas Death Match. You're supposed to, and especially with the standard for the Texas Death Match that exists in AEW, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it's like, I understand what this is. I understand what this represented, right? First of all, it's the culmination of a bunch of storylines that are coming to fruition in this match here. Swerve and the Bucks, Osprey and his stuff with the Bucks and the and with Hangman, right? And that the triangle of Hangman, Osprey, and Swerve, and Danielson's issues with Mox, right? And Darby's issues. So I understand how all of this is coming together. It's like when you're watching your favorite TV show and you get to the season finale and they're wrapping up all the big storylines and it's really, really exciting. Like, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
And I understand it. So when the interferences started to happen, I'm like, okay, this is pretty much what I thought. And we're just going to ride the vibe, because what this is it's a moment, more than anything else. And I feel that All In, if this continues to be the big annual show, this is what it's going to be geared as more and more. It's going to be more about having a big feel-good moment for the fans. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being, and we're going to deliver something that it will hopefully satisfy you, right? And then we'll move on. As a wrestling match, I thought it was great. Like, it's a 4.5 star affair for me, being honest, right? Because unlike Cody and Roman, the wrestling didn't stink. Where it's like the actual match was really good and was exciting, but it's the same idea with Cody and Roman. Something that's designed for the fan base, for people who've been watching, to make them feel good about, to make them feel good, to have a sense of completion, that we're wrapping up a big storyline, right? That's what this was. So I completely get it. I'm 100% on board with it.
Yeah.
So I can't fault them for doing that. The match was good. That's the thing. It's like, I guess my expectation was higher, match of the year stuff, but I can't do match of the year. Not personally. I can't.
Yeah.
Because there's too many trappings otherwise, right? But it was really good. And the drama was there. It was intense. It was a blast. Look, Darby, here's the thing with Darby. We were sitting like in one of the bowls, Kristen and I, and they're cutting and there's the promo, right? And by the way, no one is ever going to be able to top this. Top a promo at the top of Mount Everest.
It's ridiculous.
It's going to have to be like a promo from Mars. That's the only one. That's the bar right there.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
So they're cutting the promo and we're watching it on the screen. And then from the corner of my eye, we're seeing Darby being lowered. Okay. It's even before the promo, come to think of it.
Because that looked like a high roof. Like he had to come down from a high. That like took a while, it felt like.
It took a long time. No, come to think of it, they started lowering him when Danielson came out.
Yes, because he came out right.
They started lowering him there. And we pointed. It was like, oh shit, it's Darby, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he hung there. Like they lowered, and then they stop, right? They just they got him at the appropriate height, to be able to do the dramatic entrance at the right time, instead of starting him at the very top of because dome is really fucking high.
Yeah.
So he does this rigging, and so he's standing there easily, JPJ, 90 seconds.
Oh,
and
no
I'm
way.
starting to get really fucking anxious.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sitting there and going, just lower the guy.
Yeah, just
lower
get him down.
Because
just do it.
Because you're thinking about Owen, right?
Of course. Every time. Every single time.
So like, just bring him down, but he's sitting there as Danielson's doing his thing. Then they cut to his promo from Mount Everest. Then he starts appearing for the rest of the audience, and then everyone goes nuts.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was really, really intense.
Yeah. Yeah. I guarantee you he's just sitting there like he is normal. From what we know of Darby, he's probably just like, all right, like it's no big. I would be peeing myself up there.
Yeah,
like, get me down, please.
He's got a Pepsi. He's got a Pepsi. He's going.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, yeah, just gotta chill up here, 200 feet above everybody for a minute and a half. No way. No way.
He's got a granola bar.
Yes.
Like, munch.
Yeah. I would be like, hey, listen, I obviously do it as safely as possible, but you need to get me the fuck down there as quickly as human. Like, I don't want to be up here that long. All right.
That's crazy. And it was so like just seeing him there dangling for 90 seconds. Anyway, it was all, it was tremendous. And I thought it was a fantastic way to wrap everything up.
Yes, it was really a good it was a good pin and cherry on top on the show. Everybody had been waiting a long time for somebody to dethrone Moxley, and once it kind of was identified that Hangman should be the guy a few months ago, you could tell from the beginning the crowd was like, this is our guy, this needs to happen, it has to happen. And
a great release of anxiety as well.
Yes.
A lot of people were really nervous that it was not going to be Hangman. So
100%.
Look, it's like I said on my review. I said essentially the same thing here about, it wasn't, I would have preferred Mox and Hangman go more at it and less interferences and whatnot. But if you had given me the pencil, like if I was booking this, I'm not sure I would have done this in any other way than how Tony did it, because I understand what this was about. It was about it was about creating this moment for AEW fans where you also felt like it was a thank you for sticking with us, and a moment that you felt that AEW was really asserting itself. Coming out of 2 years, man. 2 years of bad stuff, bad mojo, bad vibes, the CM Punk stuff, the bad creative of 2023 that just plagued the company, everything pointing downwards, less and less people going to the live shows and ratings slipping, everything looking bad right now. You feel the momentum has shifted. You feel things are getting better. And I think, Tony Khan was kind of like, this is going to be a moment where we're going to celebrate with the fans, essentially. That's what he decided. That's what he decided to give this to the AEW viewing audience. And he got it so again, I don't think I would have done it any other way, quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was a great ending to what was really just a really, really great show. Just one of the best shows of the year. In general, it was really, really good. And I agree. I thought it was the perfect ending. And I thought the promo last night that Hangman cut to start Dynamite, I just thought was a good first promo for him as the champion, especially the end where obviously, he said, I lost a lot of blood, but I shed a lot of tears. And people like Moxley would say that makes me less of a man. He goes, well, I'm married with 2 kids who love me. I got thousands and millions of fans who respect me and look up to me. And if you want to know what kind of man I am the champion of the fucking world. And I thought that was just, it was wonderful. It was wonderful.
It was very good.
Yeah, It was good stuff. Just AEW knocked it. Look, they've been doing real good stuff for a good bit now. They are just continuing to do so. They've kind of found what made them special again, I feel like.
I agree.
And they just need to don't deviate like they've deviated in the past. Just fucking put the foot on the gas pedal and do this shit. Just do this shit. That's all.
Don't be a copy.
Yeah.
Don't be a copy of WWE, because then people will just say, "Oh, it's just a copy of WWE."
Yeah.
And it'll always come across as second rate, because that's just how it
It's
goes.
just the way it goes. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Austin Shepard in the chat, Everything Pro Wrestling. Welcome in, boys. Yeah, Austin, best AEW pay-per-view. He's saying of the year, or he's saying maybe even ever in the company. I mean, it's up there. It's up there. It was really good. It was really, really good.
I preferred Revolution 2025.
Yeah,
I think
I
Revolution
think
is an overall better show than this. But this was, I mean,
yeah.
Look, I mean, you're picking amongst your favorite flavors of milkshake here.
Exactly.
So it's like
can't really go wrong. You can't really go wrong. So obviously the main focus of this episode was going to be All In and AEW, since you were in attendance, and that's why we wanted to talk. But WWE did have themselves quite a weekend as well. We're not going to be diving into Evolution or Saturday Night's Main Event. If you want to hear what I had to say about that, tune in right here on YouTube. Once we finish up Firmly Inc. from this morning, me and Drew dove in on Evolution. We talked about All In as well, but we dove into Evolution, Saturday Night's Main Event. So if you want, I thought Evolution was great, particularly the triple threat for the IC title. Everyone should go see that. It was really good. And then obviously the Naomi moment cashing in was a good moment. But it was a great show overall. But the one thing we are going to talk about from the WWE weekend was something that when you got home from All In was on the television, and you decided that you were going to commit to watching it. And that was Goldberg's last match against Gunther at Saturday Night's Main Event. I think it's the longest match of his career, Warren. In his last match as a 58-year-old, he had the longest match in his career.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. I don't know. Okay.
Listen. I will say this. It is a testament to Gunther and the quality of pro wrestler Gunther is that he got what he got out of Bill Goldberg on Saturday Night's Main Event.
What a fucking carry job, brother.
Yes.
What between us all there, like we're gonna we gotta add this match to the pantheon of carry jobs, like with Brett Davy Boy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Incredible work by Gunther.
It really was
to make something out of this.
Yeah. So I mean, you watched it. I would love to know Mr. Warren Hayes' opinion on the spectacle that was Goldberg's last match. Obviously, what happened afterwards, I know some people are having fun with that because his little speech got ruined because of NBC and the time constraints. And he is very not happy about that, as he was on Ariel Helwani and he voiced his displeasure. And he said he can talk more about that in a few weeks, whatever the hell that means. But yeah. So how was the last Goldberg experience for Mr. Warren Hayes?
Oh, it was a very Goldberg match. It stunk. It wasn't, we're talking about a carry job, but I'm not like saying, oh yeah, he was able to drag him to a 4-star match. No, it was a bad match. Like, it was awful. Goldberg, there was so much Gunther did so much audience work, right? Crowd work to give Bill the time to catch his breath again, because he was gassed the entire fucking way. I don't know how many people watching know this. I'm a certified Goldberg hater.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely dislike the guy. He's been the butt of jokes of mine for years. I wrote a 2,000 word article on Voices of Wrestling on the week before his retirement match, dressing him down, basically, pointing out that he's only taken from the business of pro wrestling and is never given back. And I'm glad to see him go. I hope it is the end for a man who's been overvalued, he's been overvalued, and whose importance is in wrestling is significantly amplified by fans who are just stuck with nostalgia. Because I could talk about this for another hour. We won't. Just fair warning, everyone. Everyone. I don't think it's necessarily compelling audio, but like this is a guy whose stretch of importance in the wrestling business is essentially 2 years from the moment he started, won the title, the Georgia Dome, Nitro, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
His run at the top where he was really significant and a real mover and shaker was about 2 years.
Yeah.
And then after that, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. Now, can we put the blame that Goldberg's career never reached the soaring heights that it once had on creative, on the booking? So could we blame, Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, Vince McMahon? Sure. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But also we can place a lot of blame on Bill Goldberg. The problem that always existed with Bill Goldberg is that he was a literal rookie when he started the streak. Literal rookie. And they got everything behind him because he started to catch on because of his intensity, because of that magnetic charisma that he had. And WCW then decided to put everything behind him and go, this is the guy, which is fine, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gimmick then turns into, well, he beats everyone. Okay, well, ultimately that does that you're going to paint yourself into a corner, but WCW not necessarily known for its long-term booking, right? Or short-sightedness was really the key to the booking of World Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
So eventually they did run out of opponents. They run out of interesting things to do with him. You can argue that his title match was mismanaged. His title loss with the cattle prod was mismanaged.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of bullshit. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here going, it's all Goldberg. No, there were some very poor decisions along the line. But this is a guy who never ended up paying his dues, right? Who didn't pack into a car with 3 other guys and traveled the roads and got his respect and learned how to be humble, learned some humility as he's doing what he's doing, because he's losing matches, and he has to, this is a guy who was given everything.
Yeah.
As someone told me recently, was given a 7-course. He was given a 7-course meal and didn't even leave a tip at the end. And I think that's exactly right. He's a guy who just took. So, WCW folds while he's still under contract. What does he do? He waits out his contract.
Yeah, of course.
He's not champing up at the bit to go wrestle. He's like, I'm going to wait. Then Vince, when that wraps up, Vince finally can bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
He has a bunch of demands for Vince, and Vince accommodates everything. Then he brings him in, gets into a program after, what was it, WrestleMania 14? Would that be right?
No, it was a little later than that. I want to say WrestleMania, maybe right after WrestleMania 17?
19, maybe.
19? Yeah, maybe 19. Yeah.
Maybe 19. Yeah, I think it's more like 19. And he gets put into a program immediately with The Rock. He shows up on the Raw after Mania, and immediately he's up against The Rock. And what does that do? Well, it ends up exposing him because Vince is not booking him like he was booked in WCW. He's booking him like a pro wrestler, because Vince, he's still at the height of his booking powers at that point. He's like, I'm not going to have a guy run through my roster. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And Vince was right. It doesn't make sense. So you're going to have to wrestle, partner. But his contract was for a year.
Yep.
He wrestles. He does his thing. He has that terrible match with Brock, and he's gone.
Yep.
He leaves pro wrestling because he was being booked like a pro wrestler, JPJ, because he wasn't being booked like, a superhero or whatever. He was just being booked like a pro wrestler, like everyone gets booked. But his fucking ego, because it was so much of a mark for himself, he couldn't handle it. And he decided to quit pro wrestling, and then comes back, in 2016, something like that, to do the first
the match with well, he fought Ziggler first, right?
He did. My timeline's confused here, or was it the Kevin Owens thing? No, he did fight Brock and then won the title. And he fought Brock, then got the title off of Kevin Owens, and then rematched against Brock, where Brock won the title off of him.
I thought he beat the Fiend for the title. But he did beat Kevin Owens for the title as well. But then he also beat the Fiend later on for the title.
Because he left again.
Yes,
and then came back a few years later to take the title off the Fiend. Yes.
Ridiculous.
So when you look at the whole thing, Goldberg has spent more time away from pro wrestling than in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
So for him to go around saying, my retirement match is going to be I don't see it. I don't understand. I don't understand why Bill Goldberg should be perceived like that or treated like that. Yes, he had 2 years where he was at the very top. He was an unmitigated draw. The Georgia Dome was a record for years. AEW beat it. It's been a record for all that time, for ratings, for attendance, for the whole 9 yards. Don't get me wrong, but he's a guy who never cared about the business. He didn't give a shit about the business. The business has always been a paycheck for him.
Yep.
So he comes in, gets a paycheck, and leaves. And now we're supposed to, treat him like he's something particularly special, and that that his last match is supposed to be this incredible deal. No, brother. All you've done is take. You've given nothing back. And fans today, the WWE fans who exist today, who are not steeped in the nostalgia of the Monday Night Wars, don't really care about you because you haven't really been around. In fact, they've been in the times that they've been exposed to Goldberg. He stunk. He almost kills Undertaker in that one match, right? Mm-hmm. And he's just terrible all around. So they're like, who is this guy? What? It's not that big a deal. So, he has a vision of himself that does not correspond to reality. And somehow there's some people that buy into this. There's some people that Goldberg's last match is a big deal. I don't understand why. I really don't understand why a guy who has blatantly has always disliked pro wrestling and has always fallen back on it as a paycheck because he knows he's got some value. I don't know why anyone would be like, this is going to be, we're getting behind this and we're going to give him a great retirement match. Who cares about Bill Goldberg? I never quite understood it. So he goes out with a whimper. I thought it was really funny that they decided to book him on. In fact, I'd even say it's perfect that he goes out in a Saturday Night's Main Event, JPJ, because Saturday Night's Main Event is a show that preys off of nostalgia, right?
Yep.
Of the,
does.
The old show. Perfect, because that's exactly what Goldberg is. But he not on a pay-per-view, not in his stadium, just like in a nice little arena. And he's got a bunch of people and whatever the fuck. And then he do the thing and they cut him off while he's doing his speech, crying, laughing. I was dying.
Yeah.
And the marvelous thing with the Ariel Helwani stuff is one of the tweets, not tweets, but posts on Blue Sky that I had made to promote my article that I wrote in Voices of Wrestling. I said, like, here's your last chance to read my article before Goldberg heads out into the night, or at least until he goes on Bubba the Love Sponge to complain about how WWE mismanaged his retirement. And look, I got the podcast wrong. I got the show wrong.
Yeah.
But don't tell me I don't have a grasp on Bill Goldberg.
Oh, yeah.
I understand this man in ways I wish I didn't.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. And it didn't go as planned. So he's going to be vocal about it and shit on everybody that was involved with it except him. And then, that's all that'll.
He ended up just being a pawn for WWE and their counter programming strategies against AEW. That's 100%. What he ended up being.
Yeah, 100%.
But then again, that's what Goldberg deserves. It's fine.
Yeah.
The only man who's truly upset about this is Bill Goldberg himself. The rest of us, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
No one really gives a shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's true. I think that's what it is. Like, really, no wrestling fan really gives a crap about what happened on, like, whatever. Like, and you know, he's going to try to talk about this, I feel like, for as much as he can to kind of get people to still, but like, I just think he's talking to avoid, because I don't think there are many people out there that finished watching Saturday night's main event that were like, I can't believe they did that to Goldberg. I just don't think there were many people.
Don't forget, this is the same guy who talked for 45 minutes at his Hall of Fame induction. Yeah. 45 minutes.
Yeah.
He's had his time to chat and flex and be the center of attention. Fuck that guy. Let him go and complain, because that's tremendous. You know why it's tremendous? If he goes out and complain, because for people like me, it's just more content. It's more content. It'll be weeks and weeks of content for me, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Yeah. Like, just have him come in and bitch and complain. It was to be expected anyway. What's amazing is that, you know, like, you've got, you know, the people who cover WWE who are like, I can't believe he's doing this. Well, you can't be new to pro wrestling. Look, Dave LaGreca, I know you're not new to pro wrestling. I know you're not.
Yeah.
You cannot be surprised that Bill Goldberg is complaining after cutting a check. I'm sorry. You cannot be surprised at this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I mean, it's been the motive of him his whole career. So it shouldn't really shock anybody, to be honest.
No.
Any thoughts on Jelly Roll?
They're delicious, actually. There's the ones that there's a bakery not too far from Kristen's.
Yeah.
Has tremendous ones.
Fair.
No, that brawl that they did? Wasn't that embarrassing? I watched
on the Jimmy Kimmel.
Wasn't that embarrassing? Wasn't that just bad?
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. Look they may. I guess it's a good platform for them to do that. It's the Tonight Show or the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Like, a lot of people, I guess it's a good platform for them to like.
I understand why they did it.
Of course, yes.
I understand why they did it, but the brawl did not look good.
No, Randy and Drew were really just kind of and they just kind of left, and then obviously, my thing is, like, again, regardless about how you feel at we don't have better things for Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre to be doing at SummerSlam. We don't,
or anyone else than Jelly Roll. Like, is WWE like starved for talent?
You got Carmelo Hayes, who can't catch TV at all on SmackDown, but we can make a 3-week program for Jelly Roll. Like, what about that guy or any of the girls that we saw kill it at Evolution that don't get regular TV? Like, again, WWE has always involved celebrities. I'm cool. Sure. We've seen people like Bad Bunny do great things, in my opinion, with it. Logan Paul, objectively in the ring, like, he's become a main. Like, I'm not against them using celebrities. That's been a thing my whole life. But it's like, when you got people that are talented that don't get on TV regularly, that are like actually contracted performers for you, maybe we don't make a storyline on your second biggest show of the year involved. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Is this the 2-night SummerSlam this year?
It is the first one. Right? Yes, the first 2 night. And I get it. There's more matches than usual. Sure, you got to filter it. I get it. And Jelly Roll has more followers and more mainstream appeal than anybody that's right. I get it.
Yes.
But it's just like, you're talking about Drew McIntyre, Randy, like, those are different level. Like, you want to put they're just different level guys to be dealing with this. And it's just, I don't get it. I don't get it.
How bad is Drew lost in the CM Punk feud? Like, how bad has this guy lost?
It's crazy.
Last year, you know, arguably the best feud in WWE, right?
Yep.
Just absolutely tremendous work. He's breaking out as an excellent promo guy.
Oh, yeah.
Tremendous poster on Twitter, right? He's hitting all the notes, and now they can't find shit to do for him.
It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's very bizarre.
He's saddled with feuds with fucking Damian Priest. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, this guy lost that feud, and he lost with a capital L.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting that it's once he's been re-signed?
Oh, of course. Of course.
Isn't that interesting now?
Yeah. Now, I'm hoping that isn't the case for other people. But yeah, it seems like, oh, we're going to make you the focal point of our whole friggin' company. Like, you're going to be considered to be the not even breakout, but like the best performer we have for the calendar year of 2024 by many people. then he resigns, and oh, by the way, you're going to be teaming with a musical with Logan Paul to take on a musical artist at the second biggest show. It's just, you know, again, what we know of Drew, I assume he's probably not thrilled. He'll make the best of it because he's a pro, and he'll make the best of it. But I would assume that he's probably not ecstatic that this is his SummerSlam program. No, I would think
he's probably not super into it. No, I don't think. Like you said, he's going to do it because. But here's the thing: is like, I feel like a lot more of these guys and gals could muscle their way into things a little more and be like,
I agree.
Well, what do you? No, I'm not going to do this. And what are you going to do? Fire me? Fire me then.
Yeah.
And what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go talk to the other guys. And WWE doesn't want that.
Nope.
So I don't understand how those politics work, because that would be my strategy every fucking time. I'd be telling, okay, I don't want to do this, and if you don't like me not wanting to do this, tell me to hit the bricks.
Yeah,
fire me. That's fine.
Yeah,
I've got other places to go work now.
Yeah, and like maybe it's a generational thing with the way that things just operate there now or whatever. But we've always heard stories about people putting their foot down and saying, and not just we've heard a lot of people. Stone Cold took his ball and went home. We've heard about John Cena vocalizing to change certain things. We've heard about this all the time, and there's a good way and a bad way to do it. But if you're unhappy, like somebody like Drew McIntyre, if all of a sudden WWE let him go tomorrow, he's going to be more than fine. He's going to go to AEW or New Japan. He's going to be more than fine. So when you have that leverage, why wouldn't you be like, at SummerSlam, I'm not fucking doing this.
I'm not doing this.
Find something better for me. I'm not doing this.
And then, because there was a time where they couldn't do it because there was no other place to work.
Yeah.
There was just no other place to go work. Now there is another place to work. It's like, it's very strange. And you mentioned, like you were talking about, we've heard about it with Stone Cold, with Cena, with even The Rock for a time. And these are top guys. Like, these are the top guys of the company. Drew's not a top guy, but he still could do it. He still could be like, no, I'm gonna hit the bricks. I'm done with this shit,
Yeah.
But look, Jelly Roll notwithstanding, his it's kind of like the same thing with Bad Bunny. Like, for me, musically, I don't know what this guy represents.
Yeah,
I don't know. So, it's not necessarily for me. I don't have an interest in it because of it, just because I don't know who this guy is. So I'm not going to get excited about it. Mm-hmm. But this kind of match is not designed for me. It's designed for people who are Jelly Roll fans who might just tune in to say, hey, let's look at Jelly Roll do things.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair.
I don't know.
But on that note, we are going to wrap things up here and get out of here. Warren, I want to thank you. Obviously, you were going to be the guest of us tonight. You turned into my co-host this evening. So I want to thank you for joining me and talking about All In and, kind of wrapping it up with a little WWE talk here. Before we get out of here, why don't you let the people know where they can follow you? Maybe they can go back and read that Goldberg article if they want. Just let the people know where they can find your stuff.
There's so many things you can do. Everything is most of what I do happens right here on YouTube, on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. That's where I record most of my stuff. Everything ends up there. Also on your favorite podcast application. But there's also a little more that happens on the YouTube channel. I also stream a couple of nights a week as well, where we chat about a bunch of things. The past 10 days or so, I haven't been streaming much. I'm on vacation. I'm taking it easy, but I'll be back sooner than later in that format. So youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, Mr. Warren Hayes Show podcast, the AEW Dynamite reviews. I also review all sorts of wrestling shows on top of that. There's a lot of stuff that you can pick up there. And if you want to find my writing, like we were talking about, it's over on voicesofwrestling.com. I'm an infrequent contributor to the site, but when I do, I like to think that it's something. How about that? And you can also follow me on Blue Sky if you like. It's a good time at MrWarrenHayes.show. I can't hear you anymore, JPJ.
Oh God, I was accidentally muted. Pardon me. I was going to say yes. I love it. Go follow Warren. He's been a longtime favorite of us here at Love Wrestling, but here on Beards, he's been great to us since we started this thing. He's been one of the guys that's kind of been supporting us and at our back since the beginning. So we appreciate you a lot. And I'm speaking for PLUGGO.
Sure.
We look forward to when we get to do this with you and chat with you and stuff like that. So thank you again for joining. Go follow Warren. You can follow us here at B2Beards on all social media platforms. We are here every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern with the flagship show here on Love Wrestling Between Two Beards. You can follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms. You can catch me on Thursday mornings, like I said, at 9 a.m. with Drew for Firmly Inc. You can catch me over on Body Slam every Wednesday after AEW Dynamite for the post-show Dynamite Up. But if you follow me at JPJ Loves Gaming, you kind of get all the notifications from where I at. I try to, I do a lot nowadays. I'm kind of a little bit of everywhere, but that's where you can follow me. So appreciate everyone in the chat tonight, everyone tuning in. Warren, once again, thank you for joining. Always
thank you for having
fun
me.
When this happens. Absolutely. Anytime, my friend. You guys know the drill. We'll be back next week. But until then, everyone get ready to say hi to Sue. We'll see you soon. Have a good rest of your night and weekend. Be safe. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace out.
Hey there, PLUGGO and JPJ. It's Trent's mom, Sue. And I have a bone to pick with you. So, I understand that you guys are being real idiots and spending your entire monthly budget. You've got to be kidding me. This is not the way to be when you're trying to run a business. Your boss, Spencer, is really pissed off at you. I'm pissed off at you. You have some nerve. Get a grip. You have to control yourself. You can't just go out and spend all the money that you're making, you Two Beards guys. Oh no, this is coming out so stupid. Anyway, behave yourselves or I'm gonna cut you off from watching AEW. You're no longer gonna get to know, be able to meet my son. What? Or me. I'm sorry, this is like, I don't know. Anyway, thanks so much for being fans. Watch yourself.